What's up, everybody? We're here with none other than Myles and Myers. I was thinking about that today. Y'all's names are really similar.
One letter apart.
He almost got me when he said our names just now. I almost was like, wait, who's that?
Who's Myers?
Yeah.
It's funny, before, this was a bit maybe 2 years ago, Steven would introduce me to people as Myles.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Just because he thought it was funny. And people did, like, legitimately for a long time. They would hear me say Myers and then call me Myles. And that still happens, like, when I talk to people on the phone and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the bit came from. But now we're friends with a guy named Myles, so he can't really
Yeah,
do
whenever
that
we
bit
became
very much
friends with
anymore.
you.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes I'll say my name and they'll just be like, oh, Myers. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
got it.
I same for me. I just, like, give up. I'm like, sure, you can call me that. I'll
I
respond.
also called, we had a friend named Davis.
Yeah.
And I just introduced him as Leonard all the time.
So you just like mess with people,
For no reason.
It's just
I also
funny.
think the name Leonard is just a funny name.
Yeah.
Oh, man, guys, we're back. This is my first word of mouth episode in literally over a month. It's great to be back on the mic, and it's great to be back with Myles and
Yo.
Myers. Myles is a new friend of mine that I've met in Birmingham, but also I just think he has a very, very fascinating life story that we're going to get to talk about today. Son of a... wait, you said you were born in Greece, right? Was that the first place?
Yes. I was born in Athens, Greece.
Son,
That's crazy.
Son of a Greek basketball player. In a lot of ways, that kind of makes you like a Greek god,
No, 100%.
you know?
Yeah.
No, but
Me and Poseidon, like, locked in.
Yeah.
Myles' dad played basketball for a long time in a lot of different places. Myles' mom also played collegiate athletics. Did she play basketball, or what did she play?
In her backyard.
No, what did she play? Didn't she
No,
do
I'm
something
so
in
serious.
Alabama?
She went to school there.
She didn't play a sport
No,
there. For some reason, I thought she played a sport there. Missed that one.
Library gymnastics, I guess. I don't know.
Library gymnastics. Wow.
She studied
She's a
lot.
bocce ball champion.
Yeah.
100%.
But anyways, Myles and I met at a coffee shop called Prevail, which leads us to today's sponsorship. Today's episode is honorarily sponsored by Prevail Coffee. If you've never been there in Birmingham, go give it a shout out. It's a pretty good spot, pretty good coffee. What do you say?
Shout out Jacob.
Does he? Hey, shout out Jacob.
Come on now.
Go
Does he
see
get
our boy.
stamp of approval from Meyer and Mile?
Miles. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite Proud Mary, but
It's not quite Proud Mary.
it's a heck of a coffee for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Get your day started off right. Vibes are high. Nice aesthetics in there, I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
People are
I
real
feel
tall
like
ceilings.
we have to explain the story of how we met because I think it is super fascinating.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You want to do it this time? Usually I do it.
Yeah, go ahead. You
Okay.
do it, man.
So, first week in Birmingham, Friday, was kind of just sitting in my office and was like, let's just go for a little walk, kind of see the downtown area. I work downtown, so I just kind of got to the bottom of the building and just looked around real quick and saw, like, across the street that there was a coffee shop. Never had been over there, didn't really pay attention to it any time before that. Walked in and I was talking to the barista behind, had ordered an Alabama Stinger.
Shout
Remember
out
that?
Hannah Ray.
Shout out Hannah Ray. And asked her, like, what's to do out here, some good churches, some good food, all the stuff that you kind of need to know when you move to a new place. And she's like, oh, I go here, my friend goes here. Speaking of Redeemer, help me out, give us your full title.
I actually kind of want to hear you guess.
So
it
Steven's
is.
right over there. And I was like, oh, she's like, you should go meet Steven. He's like super involved in the church, knows everybody. Okay, cool. So I walk over, introduce myself, and funny enough, Steven had met my dad, I guess, 3 weeks before I moved to Birmingham.
It might have been way before that. It might have been it was the end of the summer. I remember being hot outside when I met him.
Okay, so months before I'd moved to Birmingham, Steven met my dad on the driving range at Highlands. It's like kind of odd.
Here in Birmingham?
Here in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah, he was playing golf. I don't know. And then we get to talking, and I tell him I'm from Austin, everything else. He tells me his wife is from Austin as well. Oh, that's cool. Like, I'm from Cedar Park. She's from Cedar Park. She actually took English class with my sister
Wow.
in high school. Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously divine timing, divine intervention. I give Steven so much credit for my experience so far here in Birmingham. But
Wow, that's so kind.
That's big.
100%, absolutely.
He's never said that to me before, guys. That was the first time I've heard that.
Compliment check.
His dad thanked me for it the other day. We saw your dad for the first time since then, literally 3 days ago. So
I've seen him since then.
I mean, that's why I said we
yeah, I got you.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we have never seen your dad. That was the first time we've seen your dad.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I wasn't going to correct you all the way, but yeah, you were absolutely.
I was really trying to get away from, not get away, but I was trying to get to play golf with you and him whenever I was in Austin. But I had a lot of fun with my wife's family. Yeah. I don't regret not going to play golf, but
We will.
I feel like I just kind of put myself.
It'll happen.
I was like,
100%.
I'm either gonna let down my in-laws with this statement or let down Myles. One or the other. Oh man, I equal parted wanted to play golf with Myles in Austin over Christmas break and hang out with my wife's family, and I ended up only hanging out with my wife's family and not playing golf.
That's okay.
I did see the golf course though that you play, and it's
went
awesome.
2 birds, 1 stone. We could have invited the
Whole
whole
fam.
family out.
Dude.
Bless Myles.
Next time.
Next
Just
time,
saying.
yes, we need to go play with all the boys.
You know what I'm
that'd
saying?
actually be
Butler
hype.
pitch and put. We could have did something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of places to play.
But it is crazy though. I literally, okay, so a little bit more backstory. My dad and my brother and I grew up Alabama football, like Alabama sports fans, as you do. Growing up in Birmingham, you pick between the two, and
Who are the
Auburn
two?
and Alabama, and then but for whatever reason, me and my dad and my brother always liked Alabama basketball more than Alabama football. Like I couldn't tell you why. I mean, we like Alabama football; they're obviously amazing. But we went to way more basketball games than football games growing up. And my dad always talked about like the glory days of Alabama basketball whenever the stadium was called the Plaid Palace because the coach wore a plaid jacket. His name was Wimp Sanderson. And
heck of a name, isn't it?
it
that
is,
a heck
honestly.
Of a name every time I hear it. Like,
And you can go
never
back
heard
and
that
like watch
before.
YouTube
Really?
videos of this, and it's like the stadium is crazy. Like people are so into it, and they really like weren't that good. Like it's not like they were like the number one. Were they the number one team in the country?
so
maybe?
at the game on Tuesday, I actually asked him,
Yeah.
like, what was the highest you guys were ever ranked? And apparently, they were ranked number 6 at one point in time. But they just always had really good teams, like entertaining to watch.
Sure.
And then also went deep in the tournament every year.
Yeah, like
In
they
the
always
SEC
went to like
tournament, yeah.
Sweet 16, like
Yeah.
over and over again.
Exactly.
Like so, anyways, up until like right now in Alabama basketball, that era was like amazing, and Melvin Cheatum, which is Myles' dad, was a part of those teams. So whenever he told me he played basketball, in the I guess the 80s, he would have been in Alabama.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. I was like, no way did you play for Wimp Sanderson? Because to me, like, Wimp Sanderson, basketball legend, because my dad said so. And your dad was like, yeah, it was epic. And I was like, no way. So I called my dad on the way home after I met, like, Myles' dad, Melvin. And I was like, Dad, you'll never guess. I literally met a guy who played for Wimp Sanderson, like, and told him his name. And he like, remembered who your dad was.
Wow.
And apparently there was one guy on the team that was like the star, like the famous guy, and then your dad was like low key the glue guy, like second in almost every, like across the board good stats. Like I don't know how my dad remembered that, but he remembered it, like all of the details of that because he was like
Because
so into
of course
it. So.
he would.
Because of course he would. So, anyways, that was like a crazy thing. So I was just like, oh, like little cool vibe, whatever. And then fast forward, like 3 months down the road, I'm talking to like almost a 26 or I know you're 27,
27.
a 27-year-old doppelganger of this man who happens to be from Cedar Park and Austin and like was a college athlete and all this stuff. So it's just a crazy thing that I like. It was like one of the like it's such a random like niche thing that me and my dad would have like bonded so much over that like random golf like interaction I had with Myles' dad. But now I'm friends with Myles, which is just freaking nuts. But anyways, we met. We've been homies ever since. It's been a few months, and yeah, like let's get into some chat about you. I think one of the coolest parts about this podcast is we get to kind of give people platforms and to chat about themselves. And I think one of the main reasons me and Myers wanted to start this thing is because we think that a lot of our buddies and a lot of the people that we interact with are amazing and awesome, and we wanted to like kind of show them off to the world, I guess. So this is going to be our chat about.
Appreciate it, y'all.
So we're here to show off Myles.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Myles, what it's like to live in so many different cities in America. What's it like to be, have a passport for a country you probably haven't been to since you were 3, and citizenship, not just a passport.
Come on now. Talk
And
to me.
then also just talk about like what was it like to, go through the whole NFL journey and then like end up doing business, and I don't know. There's just like a ton of stuff there. Also, just like what's it like to be in Birmingham. So
Starting there.
come on, man.
Birmingham has been great. I've been out here since October and pleasantly surprised. Obviously, you have this idea of what Birmingham is after my mom being from right outside of Tuscaloosa. So my reference points in Birmingham were the airport.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
airport,
Yeah.
what is it, 59 to go
Yeah.
Yeah.
west,
Mhm.
basically towards Tuscaloosa, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're not really going to see much good stuff.
you know what I mean? And
Not much good Birmingham.
I always thought Alabama as a whole was like extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
So like where my mom grew up in a small town called Utah, right outside of Tuscaloosa,
Come
Greene
on.
County.
I didn't know your mom was from Utah.
Utah,
Utah
come
is
on.
spelled
EUTAH. Is that right?
AW.
AW. EUTAW.
Yeah, yeah,
Utah.
And so, like going out there all the time, you see these big pine trees, and you wake up in the morning and it smells fresh, and like
Yeah.
all of the nostalgia that comes with like the true Southern experience, like eggs, bacon in the morning, like cast iron
Heck yeah.
skillets, like it's
Grits.
It's a vibe, of course.
Yeah.
of course.
Have to.
Sugar, not salt and pepper.
Oh, wow.
Facts.
Sugar
Okay.
on
Yeah.
grits.
Dude, that's actually.
That's a hot take for sure.
No,
Some people
I
really
genuinely
We're-
love that crap, though.
we're-
That is like
we're butter
super
and
Southern,
salt.
though.
Yeah, 100%.
We're butter and salt on grits family.
Oh man, I mean, I respect it, but I just can't do it. But yeah, so it's been awesome. The golf is incredible. The people are super friendly. Everyone's like the most nice. Like want to see you have a good experience. Wanting to expose the city more and more. Every time you talk to somebody, they tell you about a different place. It's one of the coolest places I've ever been. Actually,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Yeah,
hear
I love
that.
it.
One thing that I noticed today that I just like I always compare it to Raleigh because I lived there, and Raleigh's like weird because it is growing a ton job wise like Austin, but there's not really like a ton of like community culture there. But here, like I don't think Birmingham's growing. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but Birmingham doesn't feel like it's. But it feels like it's getting way cooler from the inside. Like it's a lot better than it used to be. But there's not like the population isn't booming or anything like that. But I was sitting in Seeds this morning, and like people know each other here. Like everybody, like it's a really cool thing, and it's not like a small town. Like it is. It feels small in comparison, but I think that's just because everybody like has relationships and stuff. And also like when you walk into a place. Here, like people will remember you. Like people will say like will genuinely be like, "Hey, like how's it going?" Like that barista in there, Tim, that we just got our coffee from. He talks a lot, but he definitely would like chat with you whenever you walk in. Whereas like I'd rather have that than some stale, heartless.
kind of
Yeah,
a number basically as opposed
Yeah.
to like
Statistic.
a name and a face. And
yeah. Like
all
when you
those
walk
things
in Proud Mary in Austin, like they're not chatting. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like they're like.
Shout out to Austin, Texas. I'm not gonna talk bad about my home city. So shout out Austin. But I will say, Birmingham is very much so like familial and like very tight knit community. Something that's like one of the first things that honestly I was worried about when I was moving here.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because you
Worried
come-
because it's like hard to break into that.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you need to know the right person. I would say the difference between a place like here and a place like Austin, right? It's so transient in Austin. Like people come, they go. A million
Yeah.
people move there at a point in time. And so, like the accessibility to just new stuff is like never stops. There's always something going on. Always a networking event or some sort of meetup or whatever the case may be. Whereas Birmingham is a lot more. There's a lot to do. You just have to know where to look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can necessarily just go Google search, like running clubs in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Or, golf meetup, something
Yeah.
like that. You kind of have to have someone that's like, hey, like we're going to be over here today.
Yeah.
And you go over there and everybody's like, they act like they've known you for 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of getting there.
Yeah.
And so
That's
you're
fair.
talking about the growth or lack thereof here in Birmingham. that's the interesting. But like everyone knows everyone here,
Yeah.
but it's like not like you run into everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you might have like just one place where you see these people all the time. But yeah, it's like perfect for that.
Yeah. It is really interesting too how this city in comparison to Austin as well, I feel like you can get actually maybe this does apply to Austin as well. This Birmingham, I feel like you can get very different vibes like within pretty close pretty close areas to one another. So like you can be in downtown like around Railroad Park and you can get one like certain vibe of like whatever it is. And then you can go 5 minutes away to Homewood and get a completely different vibe of like person or personalities over there as well. And then you go 5 minutes down the road to like Oak Mountain State Park. Well, I guess that's not 5 minutes, but like I feel like there's different types of people that reside in different corners. Like Gardendale's not far from downtown, but the Gardendale person is very different than the downtown person.
Is it really close by?
From your office, it's probably like 13 or 15 minutes away.
Really?
Yeah.
It takes me 17 minutes to get to work in the morning.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was like 30, 35. Like I just assumed it was like
Yeah.
Everyone assumes that it's very far away.
Yeah.
Claire makes it out like it's an eternity
Across the
away,
moon.
and it's just not. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, it like low key if you left. Actually, I don't know. I feel like if she left your house and you left your house at the same exact time, and she drove to her job like at Sanford PA school, and you drove to your job at PI, she would only. I mean, by the time you actually get out of your car and sit down in your desk, it's gonna be around the same time.
Yeah.
Because
I can park right in front of my office,
Yeah.
and she has to park and walk from the parking deck at Sanford.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
just crazy.
yeah.
But
So you were born in Greece,
Yes.
Athens.
Yes.
When did y'all move from Athens back
I
to?
was young, like
Okay.
old enough to be able to like get a passport, travel,
Yeah.
and do the whole thing. And I've been back, like especially when I was super young. I went back to Europe a couple different times with my mom to see my dad and stuff like that.
Okay.
But she was obviously over here working. Just finished up her master's at UAB, all of those things, and then was kind of just traveling around doing that as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did your mom study?
I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh, that's okay. What does your
Um,
mom do now?
She's a scientist.
No way. Okay, I didn't
Absolutely,
realize that.
Yeah, she's a scientist.
your mom was a scientist.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
What
I
is
imagine
she?
she probably majored in science then.
Yeah, I was gonna say bio or something.
Biology something.
That was a
like,
stupid joke. Neither of y'all.
I don't know. Oh, was it a joke?
Yeah, majored in. You can't major in science,
Mm.
biology or something like that. Probably cancer research or something like
I
that.
don't know.
Do you know what she does now?
Now she works for a healthcare startup called Solventum.
Cool.
So it's basically the healthcare arm of what was 3M.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Spun off and became their own thing, and they brought her on over there.
That's super cool, actually.
Did I really wonder is her office based in Austin, like at the 3M office?
I believe it's in Minnesota, actually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know they spun off, and it probably was cheaper to just keep some of the same office space and stuff like that.
I wonder if she works with Gracie's dad at all, because he works in supply chain management at Del Seaton and all the different Ascension hospitals.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're connected somehow, some way.
He was talking about how much he loved 3M. But
You know
apparently
what?
there's
I
some
will
like
say-
3M factory that like built, like they were about to go out of business and they built the mask. Like they built a mask
For COVID.
like
Factory or something.
factory
Yeah.
right before COVID.
Oh.
And it like is making them like
Suspicious.
billions of dollars.
I just
Suspicious.
remember whenever COVID really popped off, my mom came home with like crazy masks with like these ventilator strips right in the middle,
Oh,
like
yeah.
all this different technology and stuff. And I would get on planes, people would be like looking at me like I had a hazmat suit on, but it was all good for
When
sure.
COVID first hit, I had actually been to South Korea a couple years before that.
Yeah.
And I had gotten the air quality there is known for being super bad, and I have cystic fibrosis, so my lungs are pretty sensitive to stuff like that. So I had this like super high end mask that I had worn over there just for when I was like walking around the city and stuff.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, I had this like super nice, top of the grade, filters everything out, whatever kind of
That's
mask.
perfect.
But then people didn't know there were certain stipulations of what kind of masks you could and couldn't wear in certain situations. And so people would fuss at me because they thought I had some kind of like cheapo knockoff something or another, and I didn't have like an N95.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think you understand that this is like
The highest
better than an N95. Like this filters out pollution.
Yeah.
Like this is high end.
Talk about one thing that I'm glad that doesn't exist in the world anymore.
Is what?
Mask regulations.
I thought you
Yeah.
were gonna say
I don't know if
COVID.
I'm allowed to say
No,
that.
COVID's
or
not real
but-
either.
I was like, hot takes today.
Yeah, bro. Oh man.
Okay, so your mom's a scientist. She's here doing school. Y'all moved back. When did your dad? How old were you when your dad finished playing professionally?
It had been.
Do you remember ever seeing your dad play?
Apparently I went to games.
Okay.
I don't know if I was like. I don't remember watching him play, but I
Yeah.
remember I remember living in Europe.
Okay.
Like I remember going. It's gonna be crazy when we were living in Crete. There was like this little convenience store, and I would go down there and get like little vanilla wafer cookies, like the little
Yeah.
yellow with the white Oreo joints.
That's cool.
And my parents would put me on these big boulders on the beach, and I would sit on top of it, and they would like walk the beach at night.
Wow.
You could hear like the waves crashing, and you could see like all the, I guess, buildings along the coastline.
That's
Wow.
unreal.
Yeah, and then I would tell them about it, and they'd be like, "That's odd that you remember that," but that absolutely was the truth.
That's crazy.
How does it feel that if you would have stayed in Greece, you would have been like probably the second most athletic person there behind Giannis?
Probably
But
the
here
first,
you're
probably
like
the first,
you're
like,
like
pretty
probably
top.
in the thousands.
That's crazy. I'm for sure top 100.
Top 100 most athletic people in America. That's a crazy thing to. That's a crazy list to put yourself on.
When you say thousands, you mean like the bottom of the 1,000, or like
You know,
the
I don't
top
know.
1,000?
Probably
I'm-
like 20,000.
Oh man, that's kind of like. I mean, maybe.
I'm
yeah, I
I'm
guess.
probably
I
in
don't
the
know how many
top
athletic people
100.
there are.
I might be in the top 50 most athletic people in the world with CF.
That's probably fair.
Maybe top 25.
I don't know. That might have been a stretch, but I'm not taking it back. So
But
we're gonna-
that is wild though. Like if y'all would have stayed in Greece, you would probably be like an Olympian for
yeah,
Greece.
but I don't think.
You would have been a Greek Olympian. That would be pretty crazy because that's where the
I don't
Olympics are
think
from.
the experience of like childhood would have been nearly the same. Like I don't think it would have been as fun.
Like you might not have had as good of coaching and been around as good of players. Is that
No,
kind
not
of what you
even
mean?
that.
No, just
just-
like the fun American childhood.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I got people that I grew up with from who knows how little, that like you just wouldn't have some of the relationships that you have. Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
think everything worked out exactly how it was supposed to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you'd ever consider like you could be like Giannis and
I was talking to somebody.
Tutankhamun or whatever his name is right now.
Antetokounmpo.
Uh-huh.
I was having a conversation with someone, and it was like, I think it was around the time like the breakdancing was like an Olympic thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, they keep making stuff up to put in the Olympics. I could be an Olympian over
Yeah.
there for something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like not necessarily like physically, athletically I could or whatever, but like
Sure.
just based on like
I'll tell you
the standards of like what
one
it takes
thing
to actually be.
that we really need
eligible.
some help in is 3v3 basketball. We got absolutely obliterated.
Did you watch the 3v3 though?
Yes,
I didn't. I'm not
it
gonna lie
is.
to you.
It is so fascinating. Because you play like same side of the court, so it's almost like a different game
It's like make it take it.
than basketball.
Yeah.
It is make it take it as well. That is like a super interesting aspect of that. But anyway, so you moved back to Texas originally, and then you're there for all of childhood. And then how old were you when you moved to Minnesota? Because that was city 3.
Second grade.
Second grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So elementary school went Austin,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, back to Austin.
Okay.
Finished out middle school, high school, college, went to San Diego. This is where it gets kind of like.
Yeah.
So finished in school, went to Dallas to do like the whole like combine prep training, try to make the NFL thing.
Gotcha. Who did you train with in that time?
Michael Johnson Performance.
Okay, cool.
Yes, MJP out in Dallas. And that was a crazy experience, right? Because, you go from high school to college and you're around guys that are NFL draft picks and like have NFL careers, still currently playing in the NFL and things like that.
Sure.
And then you go to like a performance gym like that and you're around Trayvon Diggs, you're around Jerry Jeudy, you're around like guys that are real stars in the NFL,
Yeah.
And that was super like a cool experience, like measure yourself up against who other people say are the best guys. And obviously, you want to be around
Those guys were actually there. Trayvon Diggs and Jerry Jeudy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Absolutely. Chase Day, Keith Ismail, all my guys, yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, R.I.P. Isn't that the guy that hit
that's
drove really fast? Well, who was the guy who did that?
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of the Alabama wide receivers. I couldn't remember which one.
That sucks. Oh, I hate you. We're gonna have to cut that out. That's sad. We don't want to talk
Just
about
a lot of Alabama wide receivers in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah. COVID 100% pipeline. COVID happens. We go from Dallas to Phoenix. I had a guy that I worked out with in San Diego. He actually had moved to a gym out in Phoenix. And so when COVID happened and the gym shut down, I needed somewhere to go. So I gave him a call. And he was like, yeah, Myles, of course, come on in. Like, we have room for you. And that was a great experience. Trained with Mo Green, Olympian sprinter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That was my sprint coach, actually. Popped a hammy on combine day, or on test day. Was in Arizona. Like, everything kind of just fell apart.
Was that where the draft was? Or was the draft?
No. This was, like, just separate.
Oh, okay.
It's completely separate. So everything happened. I ended up going back to San Diego. I had my lease out there. Had some friends out there. I was like, might as well just go out there and, finish out my lease. I'm already paying for it. And then was hanging out there for a while during COVID, and then kind of decided, like, okay, we probably should, like, start life at some point.
Sure.
And thankfully enough, Braden Heiklin, a really good friend of mine out in Los Angeles, California, had some relationships out there that I was able to leverage to be able to talk to some people that were able to put me in position to do commercial real estate out there. And then I got a call from my agent while I was in Los Angeles saying, hey, there's potential for you to maybe go CFL or do something different. One of the USFL, XFL leagues that were kind of picking up.
Yeah.
And so I went back to Phoenix because that's really the only place I knew, like, where to train at, or had a relationship there that I could go pursue that opportunity at. Long story short, didn't work out. And I ended up going back from there back to Austin. It was time to go home and, like, actually go pro in life.
Okay.
And so I ended up at Taylor Morrison Homes, new home construction builder, and was doing new home construction in Austin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Los Angeles then?
8 months.
Okay, not very
8
long.
months, about a year. Maybe a year and some change.
That is so interesting. Literally the other day when we were talking about the fires, I thought you were just talking about L.A. from, like, a San Diego perspective. I didn't know that you lived there for 8 months.
Woodland Hills.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever hang out in Echo Park?
Yes.
I've heard that place is cool.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing that I
all
know
of
about
Los
LA.
Angeles is, like, an extremely cool city. It's like the same way you used to talk about Birmingham, how you can have a different vibe everywhere.
Uh-huh.
It's the exact same thing, just on, like, times 100.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is there's literally 100 different neighborhoods.
Sure.
You know what I mean? In Birmingham, there's your pockets of neighborhoods, but, like, LA's, I don't know how big it is, but it would take you probably 3 hours to drive from one end to the other.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you just have different communities of people, different, all the different things that go into.
How much time have you spent in Phoenix?
In total,
Yeah.
it had to be at least close to 2 years.
Do you like Phoenix?
I love it. If I
was
ever
curious.
moved back, like, west, it'd be to Phoenix for sure.
I spent a week in Scottsdale when I was younger. Me and my dad did, like, a boys trip out there, and I really liked it, but I was, like, 13. So I want to go back as an adult because I know of some, like, really cool. My, like, if I could do anything, dream business is to run a car club, which is, like, a social club that does, like, car maintenance and storage for, like, high-end exotics and stuff like that.
What's your dream car?
Singer Porsche
Wait,
911.
sorry. Let me give you let's do, like, a little Myers Auto segment here.
Okay.
Okay, dream car if you are a dad of 3. Let's go single dad of 3.
Single
out
dad.
as what?
Yeah, so you don't have a wife in this scenario.
Flash it to him, Myers.
So this is
That's
this is a game that Myers' favorite podcast does. What's it
They
called?
do. It's a 2-car garage,
2-car garage.
and then they give you, like, a budget and, like, a hypothetical scenario.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Myles. This is a very good segment that I've thought out. So you can answer for this as well. Okay.
So single dad.
Single
how many
dad.
kids do you have?
3.
3 kids.
3 kids. You have to
Actually want
get
3? Just Out of curiosity.
Minimum
Heck
of
yeah,
3,
okay.
preferably.
Dude, we're trying to crank them out over here,
I
man.
hear you. Let's
Yeah,
get
we
it
gotta
poppin'.
get it
I got
started soon.
at the minimum we need to be replacement rate, which is 2. So hopefully more than that.
You need we need to hurry
trying
up
to contribute to
Miles
the
World so we can
population.
all have kids together. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to hurry up your whole little.
Can y'all-
You're
let's focus
screwing
on- let's
around.
talk- let's talk
Okay,
about the
2-car
car.
See,
garage.
now he wants to talk about the
Any
cars.
other details? Budget
okay,
or
2-car garage? Yes.
No
J-
budget.
I would have told you all the details, but Miles won't shut up over here.
I thought we were high. Anyway.
Sorry, we're having 3 kids, single dad.
Uh-huh.
18 miles per gallon or more.
Okay.
And your budget is $400,000.
Goodness.
Be
Okay.
specific.
My everyday car would be a Mercedes E63S wagon.
Okay. Is that the 3-row, like big boy?
It's a wagon, so it's like a sedan but with a hatchback.
Oh, okay.
It's not 3-row, so the kids are gonna have to squeeze into the back. Actually, I think you can.
You're a
get,
single dad, so not really. One can sit up front.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how old
You
the
also
kids
have
are.
3 seats in the back.
Yeah, but you got plenty of room, and then you can throw the dogs in the trunk and all that stuff. That's probably
You don't have dogs in this. Sorry.
that's okay. That'd be maybe $115,000-$120,000, which leaves me with $300,000 basically. I think I'm just from what I understand about dads who have these kind of cars, their kids love them. So I'm gonna
Okay.
get probably a Ford Bronco or a K5
yeah.
Blazer that was redone by Icon, and those are probably $250,000 to $300,000, and they're
This
just
would
like
be an old one or
Yeah.
a new one.
it would be an old one, but it's been like nut and bolt restoration, completely redone.
That is so sick. I
It's
didn't know
got,
there was
like,
a
a
company
big
that did
engine.
that.
It's like
that
Singer,
up.
the Porsches that I love. It's like that, but for off-road trucks or old trucks, basically.
Wow.
That's sick.
That
So I
would,
would do that because that would be a fun, like, take the kids out on the weekend and,
Yeah.
Fit everybody in the back.
let your kid take it to prom.
Yeah,
That
kind
kinda
of
vibe.
thing. Yeah.
All right, what about you, Miles? I feel like you know stuff about cars. I don't know that, but I just feel
do
that
know
way.
about cars, but like 18 miles a gallon, you lost me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna
Oh
have
yeah,
to.
you lost on the
I'm gonna-
Bronco right there, man.
Yeah, I was
I'm
about
gonna
say,
have to
definitely
drive
not
very. I'll drive very conservatively.
You drove 18 miles per hour.
Um,
The Mercedes might do that. It's got a V8, but I mean, it's a modern car.
Yeah, and it's a wagon, so it's Aero Swift.
Right. Do you have an answer to this, Stephen?
Yeah, I definitely,
about this?
I
Have you thought about
definitely,
this?
I definitely have an answer. But I have a dream car though, so it's like,
okay, so
Uh-huh.
because the truck's not getting 18.
yeah, you can definitely get a truck that gets 18. I don't know which one, but I'm sure there is one. Like
If
an
you-
F-150 hybrid
Yeah.
is definitely gonna get 18.
Yeah,
Like a
I don't know,
Raptor
man.
probably gets like 12.
Yeah,
So
then I don't know because
I think the MPG thing was a little. I think if you have a $400,000 budget,
Right,
then
I
you
don't
don't
think that
you don't need to
matters.
worry about your
you
MPGs.
can
I
fill up
know.
your tank, you'll be okay. You just want to make it a little more difficult.
Yes, I didn't want y'all to be like freaking Lamborghini.
I'm gonna get let me get a Urus Performante.
I'll tell you what.
If it was any
One
miles per
car.
gallon, then you just get to say whatever
I mean,
freaking
yeah,
car
well,
you
if
wanted.
If it doesn't matter, I want an Aston Martin
What kind?
DB12.
Are those ones with the freaking huge hoods?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. Those look like boats.
Well, that's I just feel you don't see them.
No, you
things
don't.
that I
You
like,
see those in
just
Atlanta.
Don't see them. Like
I feel like that's the only time I ever see Aston Martins is Atlanta.
Even in cities that people have nice cars, they're just uncommon.
yeah,
You don't see
100%.
'em.
I mean,
I feel like if you're
that's
gonna
what
get
I'm
a
talking about.
specialty car, Aston Martin isn't like a go-to.
The
specialty
DBS
car.
the DBS Superleggera,
Yeah.
the newer ones,
Yeah, yeah.
those look crazy. Have
Yeah.
you seen the new Vanquish?
Yes.
The new Vanquish is like one of my favorite
I
new
was
cars
thinking about
out.
saying that, but then I was like, someone's gonna be like,
If
That
anyone
also
else
that
that's
might be
listening
over the
has-
budget.
has-
Yeah.
I think that's $500,000.
If anyone else has no idea what they're saying, then I'm with you. I'm just so lost right
And
now.
then-
I'll put
you
up
know,
pictures. I'll throw
Aston
pictures
Martin
on the
talk.
screen.
and
DB12 will probably put you back $250 because those are
Yeah,
you can get one
yeah.
used.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
so what do I have left?
$150.
SUV, right?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you got to get your kids around somehow, unless you're just going to be a bad dad.
You have a nanny. You know what I'm saying? Put her in like a Tahoe.
Sorry,
Or
extra freaking.
Well, I was
I
gonna
didn't
say-
think this was going to be necessary. In this scenario, you don't have a nanny.
I would
No
say
dogs, no nannies.
gotta have
18
two dogs, right? Like, I feel like
MPG.
dogs is like
Which your Aston Martin probably
Unspoken.
doesn't have 18 miles per gallon anyway. So
On the highway. On the highway, I'd do
it'd be
18.
fine. And then
Big body Benz.
Acura
yeah,
RDX,
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. S500
G-Wagon for
probably?
sure, right?
Oh, I actually,
You would
No,
for sure
absolutely
get
not a
it,
G-Wagon.
the
I
International
wanna-
or whatever it's called.
yeah, I want to change my answer for the
What's the name of that car that looks like the G-Wagon that you like?
I mean, I like G-Wagons. I don't know, Defender.
No. There's like a there's like
that
a
was gonna be my answer actually for the. It was probably gonna be like a Land Rover Defender,
yeah,
space gray, black details,
that'd be sick.
New one or old one?
new one.
Do you think what? No, there's like a. It's called an International, isn't it?
International Scout.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Those look like they look like Broncos.
Those are old.
yeah.
Dang it! What? There's one in Mountain Brook. It looks like a G-Wagon, but it's like a random one-off company. And I've been like, whoa, what is that? And you're like, yeah, they literally copy the G-Wagon.
Ineos Grenadier.
Yeah, Grenadier.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my international. It's
Yeah.
Grenadier.
Yeah.
Would you get that one or a G-Wagon?
I would rather get a G-Wagon.
Okay. I don't know because you like
My
playing
budget-
around with those tool things online, and I know Grenadiers let you like. Grenadier is a company where you can like fully customize like an outdoor G-Wagon.
So the guys who founded Ineos
Sorry, Ineos. Grenadier is the style of car.
is
Yeah.
the model. Yeah. They didn't love the new Defender.
Okay.
They thought it was too like civilian,
Sure.
not like
Fair.
farm truck
Utilitarian,
enough.
yeah.
So they made their interpretation of what the new Defender should have been, according to them.
That's cool.
Which is just a lot more utilitarian. Whereas the new Defender, a lot of people think should be, this is car lore, but should be called a Discovery because it's just a lot more built for the road or
Yeah.
whatever. I think the new Defender's sick.
I do too.
And the one that you're talking about, you could get like a Carpathian with like a big V8 and it'd be really sick. But there's a company, it's called that does what I was talking about, but for G-Wagons.
Oh, cool.
And I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but it's something like Straight
Can you
Dog
get a
Classics.
Maybach, however you pronounce it, G-Wagon?
They made a one-off. Well, it wasn't a one-off, but a limited edition Maybach G-Wagon Lawn Delay.
I'm gonna look
Travis
that
Scott has one.
Oh, with the two, it's like
It's got a
two doors
drop
with the
top.
Drop, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like $1 million
I think
car.
DJ Khaled.
up.
had
If
one too.
you don't know what
I think he
Maybach
does.
was, I don't know what it. I didn't know what it is either till I was friends
That
with
is
Myers.
nasty.
But
Yeah,
it
I like
is
the
crazy.
Oh,
I
dude,
would-
that's wild. Actually,
It's
That's
insane.
but it is like the Maybach is like the Rolls Royce version of a Mercedes. It's like it is a Mercedes. Like Mercedes makes it, but it's like the bougiest version of a Mercedes.
Yeah.
They talk about it in rap songs. Ever
They
since
do.
Myers pointed out to me, I've heard it in rap songs like a ton. But I didn't know it. That word would have meant nothing to me before.
Talking about the G wagons, I like the 4x4. Bravos.
Yeah, those are sick.
Bravos is sick.
Those are
Yeah.
really cool. They have a couple around town.
Speaking of European stuff, Premier League.
Yeah,
Are you Premier League as well?
I am.
Okay, so
we're
City,
so into it. Yeah.
Man City, and
Chelsea.
so how do you guys get along with the whole, differing opinions on teams?
Luckily, we probably have like we're both fans of like what are called giants or like huge clubs.
We both
And-
hate Manchester United.
And there's like probably 6 giants
Yeah.
in the Premier League, and I would say our clubs are the furthest apart on the hatred spectrum.
yeah.
I like low-key kind of like Chelsea, and I don't think that Myers like hates Manchester City. I grew up in like there's like these guys that like all played for Chelsea whenever I was a kid, like Eden Hazard, Petr Cech, Didier Drogba, Marcos Alonso, like all these people that were just like,
Really good soccer players for those of us that
Yeah.
aren't.
yeah. I mean, they just like I like
Fernando Torres is
Fernando
like
Torres,
who
yeah.
I wanted to be
So-
when I grew up.
that was like kind of a legendary squad. So I like have a kind of like an affinity for Chelsea because back in the day, you kind of, at least whenever I was a kid, I felt like you had to choose between being a Manchester United or a Chelsea fan, because those are the only two clubs that people even knew about, at least here. Because you would go to like Dick's Sporting Goods, like the only places that ever had soccer jerseys. It was like those two, Juventus, and like Celtic were like the four, and like the two of them are in the same league. So, and then obviously Barcelona, Real Madrid. Yeah, but anyways, so I don't think that we don't really argue at all. I don't like Arsenal at all. Like the guy who's Arsenal's coach used to be the assistant coach for Man City, and now he acts like he doesn't even care. It's like really weird. It would be like Steve Sarkisian being the actually never mind. This is we're getting into too much sports lore.
We've gone really deep into lore. Okay, let's go back.
Can I answer my sports one or my car one first?
Yes, sorry, I didn't realize that.
I would get that Lexus, the new one that I like so much.
GX, like the Land Cruiser, but it's a Lexus.
Yeah, it's like genuinely the perfect vehicle in my opinion.
Okay,
the new one,
$70,000.
That's $70,000. So I still have $380,000.
$330.
I thought those were $100,000. Those are $70,000.
Nah, I mean like
I would get it fully decked out completely. So I go 100. So I have $300,000 left. I would get like a stupid, cool, Grand Wagoneer. Maybe like a fully I'm talking 150 miles on it. Grand Wagoneer, that would probably like a Jeep Grand Wagoneer wagon with like the literally wood siding. Yeah. I think that would be sick.
And then on the weekends, all of us as single dads can go to the coffee shop and bring all of our kids, and they'll play outside.
No, I take that back.
Our vintage trucks.
I would get.
Bro. Like you got to think.
I would get like I get a convertible of some sort too. I think that would be really. I think
cars. You can get.
No, sorry. Oh, I guess for me it's $400,000. It's a 2-car garage. Yeah, I'm gonna switch the Grand Wagoneer out for some sort of.
You can get a Bronco or a Blazer. Or
I'd get some top
Defender.
down. No, I think it'd be fun to have like a suave car. Like I don't know what that would be, but like an old like '80s Chevelle. Is that like
Chevelle.
a Chevelle? Isn't that a convertible?
Yeah.
Yeah, like one that like has like a purr to it. I think that'd be kind of cool, like a baby blue one or like a black one or something like that. Anyways, I think that'd be really fun.
Vibes are high.
Yeah, but
you still have $250,000 left in the bank.
Dude, I you know what I do? I'd go buy my dream tool setup for the garage. That's my 2-car garage. That's the other. That's what I use the rest. But no, I think it'd be. I don't really know. Like for me, I think that if I had like unlimited money for cars, I would probably just get those specific cars that are like. I might get like like those like Australian like Land Rover. Aren't those called Discoveries?
Yeah.
Those are like the Outback versions. Those are freaking cool to me. And obviously like old '80s Land Cruisers. Like those are just the perfect male car. I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh. The new Hummer, I think, would be hilarious to have.
Somebody that's not into cars, he likes a lot of cars.
Well, I don't know. Steven's like someone who likes things, has taste.
Once he finds a thing.
Bro, you know what else? Me and Mars have talked about this too. If anyone who's listening that has no idea about the 1980s Toyota Camrys, they are genuinely like the most aesthetic cars in the freaking world. Like they are, like I love when things are symmetrical, and I love when things have like defined purpose. And a lot of cars are not symmetrical, and a lot of things in cars do not have defined purpose. That's why I think people really like Rolls Royce and G-Wagon so much, is because they kind of go super utilitarian, and like the umbrella or like the light bulb in the Rivian, or the pop out speaker in the Forerunner. Yeah, like those kinds of stuff. Like I think that kind of stuff is so cool. But the original Toyota Camrys, like literally, I'm talking steering wheel, 2 dials on the dash, and then like AC radio. That is it. Like it is so simple. I think it is so cool. But
minimalist. Are you a minimalist? You just kind of like.
I don't think I'm like a minimalist, but I'd probably say I definitely try to give a lot of space to the things I care about the most. I don't like busyness in any sense. I don't like overstimulation at all. So I think that definitely affects my design taste to be like what some people would consider minimalist.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's because I want to like own. Like I don't know. I just feel like minimalism seems pretentious to me, and I don't think my design taste is like
No,
pretentious.
not at all. Just
Yeah,
some
I don't
just
know if that makes
don't
any
like clutter, or they just don't like to just be like overstimulated, or like just have too much going on. Sometimes they just like to for instance, just let a wall like be.
Sure.
Sometimes you don't have to put a painting on every wall in your house.
Yep.
Like you can kind of just let the wall be a wall.
Yeah.
Maybe something like
Dude,
that.
I freaking love a good like cozy room though. Like that's why I'd probably say that this does fall apart. It's like if I were to be truly a minimalist, I do like whenever I go to freaking Gatlinburg and go to like a cabin. Like I love like a good like ugly like cozy fire cap. I don't know, that kind of stuff.
Myles, how would you describe your taste?
Oh, that's a good question.
What do you take inspiration from? Are there like brands,
People,
styles, artists, designers?
also like out of all the cities that you've lived in, like which vibe of the city have you felt most like aligned with? I guess.
That's a tough one. So to answer your question, I would say just anything aesthetic. Like it can be minimalist or it can be Basquiat. You know what I mean? Like it can be super busy, but it's just kind of like however it fits my eye in that moment is kind of how I take it. To answer your question, I think there's not like one city that I was just like it was head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
I think I'm very much so able to be like where my feet are and kind of detach from a situation that I've walked away from. So I was at dinner, obviously went to the game with my dad the other day, and Wednesday night he was like, "Do you miss Austin?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Not even a little bit? Like nothing?" And I was like, "Honestly, like not really. Like it's home, you know, and there's things that I really appreciate about it, things that I really like about it. But I can't say there's anything where I'm just like, oh man, like I want to go back to San Diego. I want to."
Yeah.
But you know, when you're in these spaces and places, you do recognize the beauty that is around you. Like I remember when I lived in San Diego, for the first like year and a half, every single day I would wake up full of gratitude. And I know that sounds so corny, but I would tell people like y'all don't realize like in Texas there aren't mountains and there isn't like a coastline of beach.
Yeah.
You know, just like the things that you see and you're just like, whoa, like this is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, you come to Birmingham and you're standing on number
16.
Yes.
You talking about Highland Park?
Yeah. And you're standing there and there's pine trees all around you and it's elevation and there's mountains and the leaves are changing colors.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it sounds like kind of cliche, but like you're like, oh, this is dope. This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So you go, you know, up to Phoenix and there's Red Rocks and there's Sedona.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like there's beauty everywhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's just kind of, I feel like there's things that I love about every single city that I've ever been to, every place that I've ever been to. But like there's certain things obviously you like more than others, but I can't say one is just like way doper than the rest.
Sure. That's super interesting. I think that all those different places that you lived are so wildly different. The only ones that are maybe similar would be Phoenix and LA, but Phoenix and LA are also very different. And San Diego too.
The most similar would be Austin or San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where in San Diego, like where is the college at? There's San Diego State, the college that you went to, in comparison to, is it like close to downtown? Is it close to the beach or both? Or I don't know. I've never been there.
Sanford to downtown.
Oh, okay. That's how.
Is it
close
north or
is.
south?
What do you mean? Campus?
The campus.
East?
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean downtown is like kind of situated in the corner,
Right.
if you will, like
I've been once.
yeah, so
So I have
southwest
some
corner.
idea of the city.
And then if you go east, I think it's the 5 or the 8. Maybe it's the 8. You can basically take that from saying like straight to it.
Okay.
Like Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And so that gives you any like, and campus is off of that freeway. So
Okay.
it's like
Gotcha.
directly east.
Yeah.
So how close were you to the beach from like where you lived?
12, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did y'all go a lot whenever you lived there?
No.
Really?
Yeah, you'd think because you live there, you go all the time. And there's people that live there that do like that surf. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you have a reason to go, like you're gonna go all the time. But like if you don't, it's almost like
Well,
It's just one of those
I
things
think
that's
it's kind of
very
like here.
good,
It's like I live across the street from the Botanical Gardens.
yeah,
That's like a beautiful place to go walk around.
yeah.
Claire and I went on our first walk there together since living there together for the last almost 2 years, like a week ago.
Yeah.
It's
Are you
just
for real?
Yeah, we just never.
Also, I thought
go
it was
there.
hilarious. Whenever we got back from New York, Claire was like in my walking era and walked to the grocery store for the first time. And Claire lives like Myers and Claire literally live like genuinely
0.3 miles from a grocery store.
like 1,000 feet from a
Yeah.
really good grocery store. And there's like a cut through that you could walk. And I think that's super interesting how people don't utilize that kind of stuff whenever it's around you. I feel like I have to freaking work to be like walkable and like riding my bike here today. I had to cross some pretty crazy roads.
I'm not walking to the grocery store. Like I'm not gonna do that because you have to think when you get there, you're going for a reason. You don't just go to the grocery store to hang out.
Yeah.
I'm not walking back home with groceries in my hand. We're just not gonna do that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You see people pulling a little stroller and all that, like in New York. No, putting it in the car.
Yeah.
We're gonna drive home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of the most interesting things. My friends Jackson and Emma, shout out Jackson and Emma, they lived in D.C. for a while, and that was like one of the things that they thought was most like I guess like shocking whenever they like adapted to life there is they would go to Trader Joe's, but they couldn't get like a full load because they had to carry it home because they couldn't just drive
Yeah.
and like park outside. Like you have to, if you leave your car or if you like park, if you leave your parking spot, you don't know like where you'll be able to find another parking spot. Like you might sometimes have to park further away than the Trader Joe's is. Yeah. The Trader Joe's is like 4 blocks away.
But then it doesn't even make sense. Like when you're trying to go home from the grocery store, you might have to park further.
Yeah,
like you just said, like further from home than you would if you were just there in the first place.
So they did like groceries where they would go and every once in a while they would buy like something that would be longer lasting, like eggs or like detergent or something like that. But they would go and buy their dinner for that night. Like they would go and buy like the chicken that day or something like that, which feels more like European vibes, which is kind of weird because nobody in America.
Well, that's the
like
thing.
that.
Everything lasts for so long here.
Yeah.
We don't have. We're not gonna go on that tangent. But like, if you live somewhere where stuff's gonna go bad, you just go.
Are you an RFK guy? Is that what I'm hearing?
I shop at Whole Foods. I don't know what that means, but I do shop at Whole Foods.
We started doing Kroger delivery recently.
Yeah.
We're giving that a shot because it's kind of nice that they bring it to you and it's kind of cheap.
See, I can't get behind that. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm the most frugal person, but I'm also like, I just don't do like I'll go get it. Like if I want some food, you'll rarely ever see me Uber eat something unless like I'm in a group and they ordered the food.
I am 100% on that wave, whatever you want to call it. Kroger delivery is legitimately cheaper than going to Publix. Yeah. That's the only reason we're trying it.
Yeah.
But we're trying to figure out if we like, is the produce good, like all that kind of stuff. We've only done it 1 week. We need to do another order today, so I'll keep you posted. But your first 2 orders,
free.
It's like $25 off or something like that.
Talk about something that I like irrationally dislike. Going to the grocery store. I don't know why I dislike it so much, but
really,
that's
crazy.
I like throwing my headphones in and just like.
Oh, that's crazy work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like going to the grocery store with I feel like being in a public space with headphones in would like weird me out.
Really?
Because what if something happens? You need to like be aware of your surroundings. Myles, what are you doing? But I'm just saying, you got headphones in and something happens. Boom! Like, oh, well.
I will say,
why is everyone running?
The Montclair Publix, there have been 2 times I've been in there and seen a guy with his pants hanging down and a gun hanging out of his belt.
See?
And I was like, that doesn't really seem necessary here, I'll be honest. But
you know what? I just feel like we had this conversation the other day. We're not going to go on that tangent either. But, like, some stuff you just don't need to take with you everywhere.
Yep.
Like
I am not anti-gun. Steven is. But I think
we're not doing it. We're not.
I'm not. I'm pleading the 5th right now. Isn't that it? Right? The 5th.
Sure.
Isn't that the right to remain silent?
Text.
Steven, not Myles, what do you do now?
I'm a banker. I'm a banker down.
I really kind of feel like we should stay on this headphones in public spaces conversation before we move on. Being a banker is super interesting, and we need to talk about that too.
It's cool. It's very cool. It's a very interesting thing, but like headphones in public is crazy. Like it is,
am gonna, if there is sides to this, I'd probably side with Myles right now. I think that headphones in public is maybe one of the most frustrating things that's happening in the world right now to me. Because being in a grocery store, if everyone adapted your philosophy, then the grocery store would be a wildly worse place.
Weird.
No
So
personal
quiet.
interaction.
I have headphones in, but they're not. I don't do noise canceling, so that I can hear people around me, so I know what's going on to some extent. But I've got tunes. I've got a podcast. Something going on.
I think that the thing that probably like the grocery store, I think I can understand like why there's not like an objective like truth there. I think that can be a subjective thing because
I'm not interacting with someone until I check out, and then I take my earbuds out so I can talk to the cashier.
So you don't talk to the butcher?
No, I just grab it off the. I don't like get meat cut. I just grab it from the fridge.
That's the decline of that's late stage capitalism vibes right there. It's like, why don't we just freaking operate in a? Never mind.
I mean, for me, I just like to have the option to know what's going on around me, and then also like, excuse me, you know what I mean? Like you say you're in someone's way, like that you can't hear them. You know, I think I'm different in a lot of ways. Of like, I speak to almost everyone that I like see almost, and so like if someone has headphones in, like, you know, and just, nah, I can't do that. And then it's so
man.
quiet in there, like, oh no, that would weird me out.
I'm just like the rise of depression is completely tied in with tech. So
is that
for
what you
me,
see a lot in your line of work?
1,000,000,000%. Yeah, there's I don't know where exactly the causation is. We can argue about that, but I do know that there is correlation between tech and the rise of depression and sadness and loneliness. That's just true. I just don't think there's a way to like correlate that with any other trend that happened in 2009 whenever everything went terrible. But we can talk about that another time. But I do think that the other day I was at Hibachi. This pissed me off. Like, I'll be straight up. I was at Hibachi. I look over, and this little freaking twerp, I'm not even joking to you, the entire time, the dad and the son sitting alone at a hibachi table, AirPods in, scrolling on freaking Reels or TikTok. And the guy is making, like, the freaking, like, chef, like, is making hibachi rice, doing the whole thing in front of them. And they are straight up AirPods in. Like, I'm like, get freaking Uber Eats. Like, why are you here? Like, I really wanted to go up to him and be like, why are you outside right now?
Or
Like,
at least just go sit at one of the tables where they just bring it to you.
yeah, I'm like, that is so humiliating to the man that's working right there. Anyways, that's my big, that you really just, you just scratched that itch of my frustration whenever you talked about that. But grocery store, you're alone. I feel like that is a really hard. I feel like my frustration with the grocery store, whenever I was talking about going to the grocery store, I feel like they're poorly organized and there's way too much stuff. Back to this whole like minimalism thing. I'm like, why is there like, I don't know, like, why is there an international aisle? Why isn't there just a spices aisle where all the spices live? Why can there not? Why do you have to go to a different aisle to get the taco seasoning? Why can't it just be buy the freaking seasoning? Anyway, there's a lot of frustrations I have. Like, why is the dairy and the produce on opposite sides of every single grocery store? When you walk into a place, the only two things that you have to replace regularly in your house is produce and dairy. You should be able to walk in, pop out, but they want you to walk across the whole store. I get it, whatever. They're like literally the produce, the dairy, and the meat are the three things you have to replace. They're on opposite walls, all of them. Anyways, there's my qualm session about that. But yeah, AirPods in public, I think the only place where it's like truly helpful to the world is the airport. Because the airport, because of freaking 9/11, which whatever, they like the airports are, you're one wrong move away from like freaking up your whole day, your whole trip, your whole like itinerary. So I'm just like, that is the only place where I'm like, I'm dialed in. I'm trying to be path of least resistance, I'm trying to have the least amount of everything that I can have whenever I'm in whenever I'm at the airport. I'm like, just do your job, get me to where I need to go, and then I'm out, and then I'm back in the real world. That's like a little black hole of life. I don't think that airports are the strangest. Airports are like low key prison like to me. It's very strange. I think those are some of the strangest places in the world.
I don't like the tyrannical nature in which people are treated as if they could be a threat to society. I think the general population should be trusted more. So I'm on that. I see your frustration and I agree with most of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the solution, so I can't really offer a solution.
Yeah.
I like flying. I think flying's fun. I like traveling. I haven't been to very many good airports though.
Yeah, I don't know if I dislike the airport, but seriously, when you look at an airport and you look at a prison, like the food is better at the airport, but like, have you ever had good food at an airport though? Like, I'm not saying like the food's better than prison, but it's not good food because they also have to get through all this stuff to get it in there.
Yeah, I think the main thing was just it's super expensive in the airport.
Yeah,
That's like the main like $6 for water. Like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
But I will say I personally love an airport. I love to travel, and so like vibes.
I mean,
high. Like the flight might be the least like exciting part of the whole thing, but I like getting to the airport. The hustle and the
do you
bustle,
wear
people
AirPods
watching.
in public in the airport?
No, I mean like if once I get to my gate and I'm sitting down, like I might pop some headphones in.
Yeah,
listen to some music.
that's what I'm talking about. Like not the obviously going through security, you don't need to have
course,
the bin.
yeah.
But besides that, that's like headphones in public.
Yeah, I think that is probably the one space where like everyone truly should and can exist in your own bubble. Like you don't need to be worried about anybody else in there if you so choose.
What do you think brings a person to listen to their phone without headphones while on an airplane? That's something that I've been noticing happening a little bit more.
I've never seen
Southwest literally announces on their flights now that you're not allowed to do that. They have to say that now. That's how many people were doing it. It's actually...
You know what? From that perspective, like the fact they had to say it means a lot of people were doing it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
I haven't either.
I literally have sat by two people in my life that do that. And they don't like watch like normal stuff either. They watch freaking weird crap.
See, I will say I have been the person in public, not on the airplane, but just like sitting wherever and like watched a video on my phone and just was completely oblivious to like my surroundings for a moment. And then like someone said like, hey, can you turn that down? And I was like, oh, I apologize. Like that is my bad. That is an inconvenience. Like no one should have to listen to something they don't want to listen to. Like, you know what I mean? If you're going to play something in public, put some headphones in or a headphone or whatever. But like for it to be on a flight, that's like, I think the worst thing actually, not the worst, but one of the things that just drive me, not even drive me crazy, but just is like such a letdown is going somewhere where you need headphones and forgetting them. The gym, a flight, and a charger. Like a charger in airports is like, you need that as well.
Sure.
But like, if you go to the gym or you show up, or you go to run or you go to a flight and you don't have headphones.
Halfway through a run and your headphones die.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh,
that
you want to talk about like the whole vibes of everything?
Yeah.
I don't wear headphones when I run, but
look at you, tough guy. Okay.
It's kind of a vibe being out there feeling the air.
So?
Yeah. I mean, you honestly, if you look around, like you'd be amazed. Once I say this, like the people out there that look like they know what they're doing don't wear headphones. Like it's kind of, I think there's an interesting, I do wear headphones every once in a while on a run. Yeah. Like I have my watch can like Bluetooth connect. But a lot of times it's like when you're going out there to run for a long time, like you're not trying to like keep tempo. You're not trying to like hype yourself up because it's just going to suck being out there for an hour. Like when you go on a run, like a long run, I mean, you're out there for 2-3 hours. Like, I mean, that's not like
absolutely correct.
That's not like a freaking music like is gonna help you through that. It's just gonna suck. So, I don't know. I don't listen to
I
don't
will
listen
say
to music really.
you are absolutely correct. Everyone out there that actually looks like they know what they're doing, do not wear headphones. You are
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
And then the guys that go out there, I think like if you automatically want to look like this is a little pretentious. If you automatically want to look like a Scoob running, over the head headphones. Like if you wear AirPod Pro Maxes, I'm like, first off, that's freaking gross because you're sweating. Like stop. That's cloth. Like you can't wash that. That's so gross. And like it's crazy. Like I'll be out there like I'm some freaking pro. Like I'll like
Marathon 2025, baby.
I'll be out there sometimes and like you just kind of slowly run for a long time and then there'll be dudes with the over the head headphones that will literally dash by you and then like 50 yards later they're like walking like hands on top of their head like gassed and then you'll like kind of slowly run past them and then like a few seconds later they'll like sprint by you again. I'm like it'd be pretty cool if you just like kind of
kept going.
Yeah, just like really normal. Just like you'd still go fast, I bet. But I don't know. Different. Maybe they're doing a sprint workout and I'm a little schmuck and I need to shut up. Overall, I'm just happy to see people out there.
What's a Scoob?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
So like a weirdo.
I just want to make sure we're all, I wasn't missing some lingo or something.
Scoob is like if you're Scoob, then it's kind of like me going out to that NFL Combine thing. It's like, what is this guy doing here?
Everybody can give it a shot if you want to.
Oh, I know. Did you have any Scoobs at NFL? That was something I did want to talk to you about. You did, I was part of my homework today before our episode was I was going to try and do the statistics thing of like how many high schoolers go to D1, how many D1s go to NFL or something.
I think 1% make it to D1, and I think 0.01% make it pro.
Yeah. It's crazy. And you literally were
almost
the 0.01%.
Which is why when you said thousands, like it's got to be maybe like
how many people go to the NFL per year, you think?
Drafted?
Like they end up on an NFL like practice roster the next year. Like 100 or is like 250 or
no, less than that.
Less than 100 people per year.
No, I'm sure it's like 100 and the draft is 7 rounds, 32 picks. So,
but not all those people like actually make the roster, would they?
Oh, so you're saying like opening day 53 is on every
on the
roster.
Practice roster though.
It's probably add another they probably carry 64 maybe.
Okay, so 64 per team. So I'm
that's
talking
a
about like
estimation,
people
I
that
don't know,
like right now the college football season like ends next week. Like people out of this class that will then be on either a roster or a practice roster next year. How many new people? How many new people? Not like people that have been trying to get in for a few years, but I'm talking like people from this junior or senior class.
Yeah.
How many of those people will be on an NFL roster next year? Like 80?
Probably.
That is crazy to think about.
And you got to think that's not even 80 like all of Alabama, Texas, Michigan, and Ohio State. Like that makes up the whole 80. It's like 80 from NAIA, D2, D3.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like
all
literally.
of them.
Yeah.
And there will be like some random NAIA
100%.
like cornerback that's on a roster next year.
Like, who was it? Cooper Kupp, I think. Went to like
He went where?
I think he went to like D1 AA or something like that.
Yeah. And then like Tyreek Hill went to West Alabama.
Right.
Like that's a D2 school.
Yeah.
And he's like obviously one of the best players in the
100%.
country
So it's
now.
like it's not just made up
NFL.
of guys that like are from, premier blue blood programs. It's pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
What's it like having friends in the NFL?
It's dope. It's one word, dope. It's weird because you were just at the same level with these people.
Uh-huh.
And then they take a step that like I think it's a really cool experience to get to watch people live out their dreams.
Yeah.
Like at whatever level that is for them, but like for them to reach the pinnacle of success and do it for not just like, 17 weeks that a season is, but like kind of make it an actual career for a time period in their lives. I think that's like the coolest thing ever, like watching people be successful and live out their dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a very dope. It's a humbling and rewarding experience to like watch people do that. And then, yeah, I'll leave it right there.
Yeah, I want to know a crazy sports stat I learned today.
What's up?
Okay, so I watched a documentary on this new guy that plays professional golf now. His name's Nick Dunlap. He's from Birmingham.
Yeah, he went to Alabama.
He went to Alabama. When he was a sophomore at Alabama, he played at the Pete Dye Stadium course, which is the Amex, which is in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And California, beautiful golf course. They have a tournament there. It's like the third tournament of the season. Anyways, so Nick Dunlap somehow gets a invitation to play in this tournament, even though he's an amateur, which is, in golf talk, that's like a crazy. I mean, so he had to do something weird in order to be invited.
He was the exception, the sponsorship exception.
Okay, yeah. So he has to be pretty freaking good to do it, but also he won the tournament, and it was a PGA event, and he was the first amateur to win an NCAA tournament since 1991. So literally, it's been 35 years since an amateur did that. And there's only been 6 amateurs to ever do that, ever, like in the history of golf, which is insane. So anyways, this guy's like historically like unbelievable. He's 20 years old, from Birmingham. So anyways, that's not the crazy stat. I'm watching this documentary. I learned that he's from Spain Park, which is a high school in Hoover, which is a suburb of Birmingham. And I'm sitting in a golf shop today, and I'm talking about this documentary in there. And then Alan is this guy who works at the golf shop, and he's like, oh, like, no way, this guy right here is like one of Nick Dunlap's buddies. Like and this other guy who works there was like, yeah, man, like we know each other. And I was like, oh, no way. Like, were you a part of his Spain Park team? Because in this like documentary that I watched of him, he said that 7 of his players on his senior year golf team went to play Division I golf, which in golf world is honestly in any sport. To have 7 people go D1 is crazy. Like, how many people went D1 from your high school football team? What? Just you.
Yeah.
And you literally won a state championship? Or did they win the state championship the next year?
We won a state championship my sophomore year. We went to state in football and basketball my senior year.
Yeah, like in Texas, state championship caliber school, 1 person went from Myles team. So this is crazy. They had 7 people go play D1. And I was like, no way, like, where did you play it? And he was like, Georgia Southern. And I was like, that's crazy, dude. Like, did y'all just destroy everybody whenever y'all were in high school? And he was like, the one year that all the guys were on the team together that did this. So they weren't all seniors, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, across the, sophomore, junior, senior people on the golf team, 7 of those people went to go play D1 golf at one point or another. The year that all of them were on the team, they went to the state championship, broke the state record for the score in golf. I don't remember what it was. The same year, Mountain Brook also had 7 people go play D1 golf. And the year that Spain Park broke the record, they lost to Mountain Brook by 21 strokes.
Wow.
So,
how insane is that?
How did they break the record and lose in the same
Because Mountain Brook
tournament?
also broke the record and broke it by 21 more strokes. Isn't that insane? That means Mountain Brook was like unreal. Mountain Brook also has players that are now on the PGA Tour as well.
Do they really?
Yeah, but okay. Nick Dunlap was like, they were talking. It was funny. Hayden is the guy's name that is his buddy. He was like talking about like he's like, yeah, Hayden was saying like, yeah, we all knew Nick was gonna go do crazy stuff if he could keep his mental game sharp, and he has. Like Nick, I think he's like in 5th at the Amex right now. The tournament's happening right now. So literally 1 year ago, if you win on the PGA Tour, then you automatically get
a tour card.
A tour card for 3 years, and you get invited to the next round of majors. So he literally, with that win, got invited to the Masters, the U.S. Open, the Players, like all these. I mean, he literally made in sponsorship money. I mean, in literal purse money. I think the purse for that tournament is $25 million. So he probably won $10 million from that one tournament, and then he turned around and got an Adidas deal for millions of dollars. So he immediately is like, he was a college golfer on Wednesday. On Sunday afternoon, he is
a pro golfer,
multi-millionaire.
Shout out Nick Dunlap.
Pro golfer.
Crazy
dude.
Success, yeah.
So anyways, we were talking about high school sports. Made me think about that. But like golf is even more so like crazy because there's only like 80 people on the whole tour in golf. So
no way.
Getting to the tour is
I
like
thought it was
impossible.
like 100 something.
It might be. It might be 120. But it's like either way, it's like way 100%. Less than professional football.
I feel like the 2 hardest sports to like make it, it's got to be golf and baseball.
Yeah.
Just because baseball, you have so many tiers.
Yeah.
You have to work your way through.
Like basketball too. There's less basketball on a roster. There's
Well,
only
I
11
mean,
guys.
Yeah, there's also like less people, so there's less competition.
That's true.
know,
Baseball's like a global sport.
Yeah, well, that global, but also one organization has the top team, AAA, AA,
Yeah.
single A, low A, high A. So it's like
It's
you're
crazy.
like 4 or 5 different teams you're like competing with to get to the bigs. On top of Aaron Judge, who plays the same position as you.
So, like, it is really interesting, too, because, like, back to the original conversation of you being, like, the same level, almost getting to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you have a bad day on, like, the draft day or, like, whatever it was. You had one bad conversation, whereas your buddy had one, like, randomly good conversation, one randomly good, like, workout in front of scouts. And the difference is you aren't playing in the NFL, and they are playing, just so happen to get a job at a place that pays them like millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
What is that aspect of your friendship like now?
Wow, we were digging into it, huh?
That was something I wanted to say I admire about you is that you are stoked for and happy for all of your friends who have gone to do that. But clearly they, like, financially,
Oh, it's a different lifestyle.
they are, it's like you can't keep up.
Funny story. Well, can't is
Yet.
no such thing as can't. We're gonna get there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
can't
right,
yet
that's
to
right.
keep up.
I'll be catching up to you
No,
way
it's
more
just
than you've
I
been catching
think
up
it's
to
just
him.
like it's just a quicker path.
Right, yes.
And you know, for someone like me, I didn't necessarily like NFL wasn't really on like the board of life aspirations.
Okay.
Which is crazy because
You almost were there.
right, but like who does something for so long? Like obviously you go after it because you've been doing it so long, and like why not give it a shot?
Yeah, if that door opens, you'd be silly to say no.
100%. But if it doesn't, like I always saw myself doing other things anyway. You know what I mean? Like just life stuff, aspirations and dreams. So it wasn't really predicated on like if I make the NFL, then, you know, life is going to be awesome.
Sure.
But for them, it's just like an accelerator, if you will. And, you know, we have conversations all the time of like, as individuals who are relatively getting older and like careers might potentially be changing at soon in life, like what the next steps for them are and different things like that. So yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you a story. My 4th of July had to have been 2022, maybe 2021. I was in Arizona and I was driving back to San Diego because for whatever reason, like everyone was in town at the same time. And like everyone in my immediate class and like the class above had like just gotten like signed, picked up, drafted, like all the stuff that like the exciting part of it. And then there's like a little window of like break and then rookie camp, all that stuff starts. And like going back and seeing everybody and then just being like there's still people. There's still like I talk to Darren Hall. I talk to Darren Hall like twice a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Still homies.
yeah. You know, I talk to Keith Ismail like multiple times a week. You know what I'm saying? Like four times a week-ish.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like they're still just people. They
Yeah.
It's same as when you go to work every day and your CEO is making however much money.
Yeah. Still just a dude.
Yeah, like still let's go grab lunch and a beer. Like
Yeah.
cool.
Sure.
But yeah, that's you can't really do anything but be happy for other people doing well in life, because obviously it means like you're in the neighborhood of success.
Yeah.
So you'll get there soon.
Yeah.
Another thing that you've said too that I found to be really fascinating is like you kind of like whatever you make, you kind of spend as well. So the financial that even that perspective of like it's just a quicker path. Like that's such a fascinating perspective too, because envy could definitely just like eat you alive like really quickly, you know. And
I'm not gonna sit here and act like there wasn't a point in time. Like this is talking from a 27-year-old perspective now.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like when I was
It's
like,
been years since
when I was like
everybody
23,
got picked up.
I would look at people like,
it could be me or whatever.
Yeah, like if he did it, I could do it. You know?
Sure.
But it's funny, when I moved back to Austin, my sister, we were on the phone one day and she said, Myles, I'm kind of glad you didn't make it. And I was like, whoa, like that's, who says that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For someone, like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
And she said, well, you know, sometimes people that take different paths in life, when it's time to pivot, it's a lot harder because of the experiences and the highs or lows that they've experienced early on. And so she's like, I'm just kind of glad you're able to like get started, like doing something that you can actually do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's two different ways to look at it. And you were talking about the whole earlier, quicker thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, thankfully, I think a lot of the people that I know have done a really good job of managing their successes and in positioning themselves to actually like do well and be prepared for life.
Yeah.
After sports, rather than just
They're not just blowing all their money on
100%.
cars. And
It is
houses.
wild though. Like you know, if you sign up for that, like if you're like, all right, I'm gonna sign a deal, you don't think about this, but you are signing up for a midlife career change where you have to start from like literally no knowledge of anything to then go to like the same kind of thing of like literally the hardship of or the practical hardship of just like hardship of learning how to do like the agency management system at the insurance company or like whatever the back end management system is at the bank. Like that stuff is difficult. It's like learning a language in a lot of ways.
100%.
And like I couldn't imagine going and like hitting my head a billion times against like 400-pound men and then at 28 being like, all right, let's learn how banking works.
Yeah.
Like that would be crazy.
Which is crazy because that's like technically what I did, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
The last job I was in wasn't technically banking.
Yeah, that's true. I always
You
forget
know?
about that you weren't in banking before you came here.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just the principles that you pick up from sports.
I was going to say, I just finished listening to a podcast. There was a guy interviewing Rob O'Neill. He's the guy who killed Osama bin Laden in the mission that they did. And so he came from military. And so it was sort of a similar experience where he's like, military's strange because you can have a full career from 18 to 38 and then retire. And then you still kind of have like the whole rest of your life to do something. And you just spent your whole life doing something like, I mean, you can do like private security and contract work, but for the most part, the skills of operating weapons and going in and doing like CQB missions and stuff like that is not something that really translates to the real world necessarily. But he was talking about how he realized a lot of the principles and the character that you build going through all of the military training and being in the military is something that people in the professional world want, in the civilian world want. Yeah. And so he's started some sort of company that does like executive training and goes in and talks with people in professional settings about like how to make decisions quickly and how to work through difficult times and how to overcome anxiety in stressful situations and stuff like that. And I think it's pretty similar in sports too. Like you may not be able to go and practice throwing balls, you know, that doesn't translate to something you do in banking, but the skills or the character skills that you learn in sports definitely apply in the professional world.
100%. I think the adversity or the uncertainty is something that is known to everybody. For one, just like when you change careers, you change whatever it is, it's like your identity changes. On top of that, you know, learning something new isn't inherently easy. You know, it might come easier, but it's not easy, period. So you still have to deal with the whole taking the time to like bang your head against something to learn something new.
Yeah.
Similar to like when you first get on campus, like you've been lifting weights your whole life, but like the way they do it is completely different than the way you've been doing it.
Yeah.
Or for instance, when you go into banking, right? And let's say you took an accounting class in college. Like, yeah, you took accounting, but when you get over here and you're underwriting something, that's like not the same thing as what you were just inputting into a spreadsheet in class. So it's but like anything else, anything can be learned. You just have to take the time to do it.
Yeah. What do you think the dream is?
Career wise?
Yeah.
We're still writing it out. I've had some good conversations with some mentors, people that I truly respect and admire. And I don't know, the future is bright right now. I think the experiences that I've amassed so far have been truly like paying dividends. And I see experiences that I'm gaining currently at First Bank, you know, it's invaluable, of course. And then from here, it's hard to tell. I see a couple different things, but currently I'm where my feet are.
Yeah.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're better at doing that than me.
I mean, there's always a play to be made, but you got to take care of what's in front of you first.
Yeah.
You know.
I look to the future so much
Mm-hmm.
and get impatient with. Yeah. I grew up homeschooled. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not.
And I loved it, but I think one of the good things I learned that also can sometimes be to my detriment is seeing how structure is good, but like my schooling was unconventional. It was not the same way that everybody else grew up, and it made me it gave me a perspective and a sense of creativity that challenges norms. So I'm like, just because this is how other people learn and the pace at which other people learn doesn't mean that you can't learn something faster. Just because this is how a job is done doesn't mean it's how it always has to be done, and doesn't mean that the time horizon on which you can complete something has to be the set time horizon. Yeah. So my sister graduated a year early from high school just because, I mean, she had taken all the classes and credits that she needed to, and she got her ACT score back, and it was good, and so she just went to college because she was also homeschooled. And so that's one of my... I mean, I work for a small business, but I work in insurance, which is an archaic industry. And so one of my frustrations with insurance is like, there's so many systems and structures in place that kind of have to be abided by because of like laws and regulations. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, like, why did those exist, and why can't we just do this? Because I see this as a more efficient way of doing things. So I appreciate your perspective on seeing the world as full of opportunity. Yeah. 'Cause I think I see the world that way too, but I almost get frustrated by how slow things move sometimes. 'Cause I admire a lot of businesses and successful people who have built up companies out of nothing and built themselves up from nothing. And so I've seen, just from listening to podcasts and reading books, it's not necessarily that I know these people, but I've seen people build Facebook out of nothing. That wasn't a thing. Social media wasn't a thing, and now Mark Zuckerberg is like one of the richest people on earth. Right. So like, and he did that when he was 19, like started building Facebook. So I see the world as full of opportunity, and you can do anything. But then sometimes when you're like in the mud doing the work every day,
you don't see it.
I'm just like, how does it ever get any bigger than this?
Sometimes I think you have to take a step back, climb the tree, and then look down.
Yeah.
You know, just to get the full scope of what you're actually going through and working on.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I don't think anyone ever actually realizes the scope of what they're doing and why it's important until they move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then you're in that experience and you're looking at it like, oh, okay, like I had to do this.
Yeah.
So that when I got over here, I'm prepared for it. I know how to handle a situation, whatever the case may be. I think that's like, sometimes like when you're in the maze, like you just don't see the way through.
Yeah.
Until you get out of it and you're like, oh, that makes sense. But I want to ask you, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
When I'm I think sometimes I can be a little bit too much of like a diva artist, if that makes sense. I can it's funny because like my mom always tells me that she thinks I'm the most disciplined person she's ever met, which, you know, she's my mom, so she has to say something like that. But I don't ever feel like I'm super disciplined because I will compare myself to a man in the military or something. But it's a mix. Sometimes when I'm, I think, super driven and feeling like I've got something to aim at. It's like a sense of purpose towards a goal. And then other times it's like I get out of bed because I know I have to go do the thing, if that makes sense. So it's more of a sense of duty. I think right now I'm in that mode of like I have to go because I have people relying on me, like that sense of duty, as opposed to a feeling of like inspiration and aiming at something. That's usually where I want to be, but right now it's more like I have to.
Responsibility.
Yeah, it's like I have responsibility to go do this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I know that's very like heady and not. I don't know. I have responsibility to take care of my wife,
100%.
so I'm gonna go.
I was watching a interview, maybe it's a podcast. I don't know. It wasn't a podcast. It had to have been some sort of interview, and the guy was saying Steve Jobs was a diva. There was some other like leader of some huge corporation, and he basically said they're all divas because divas create enough static to get actual change accomplished and growth.
Yeah.
Like someone has to like shake the room.
Yeah.
And kind of be willing to like take that role on. Otherwise, nothing would ever really get done or innovated.
Yeah.
So it's
what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I was hoping you weren't gonna actually. I was hoping I was gonna be able to just talk my way around it.
Yeah, just get me to answer it.
Are we able to cut any of this?
If you want to.
Okay, cool. We're gonna cut that part right there. A lot. I think. You know, some people say they're like they hate losing.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's like part of like life and the journey, and like it happens.
Yeah.
I really like winning.
Yeah.
Like more than I dislike losing.
Yeah.
'Cause I've never really been in a bunch of positions where like.
Did you play offense?
Both.
Okay.
But mainly defense. But like I've never been in a bunch of positions like I just got my ass kicked a bunch.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, wanting to win, but then also maybe like the fear of losing, and then also, crazy enough, like, this is gonna sound terrible, so everyone take this with a grain of salt. I would say my ego. Like, I would like to think I think extremely highly of myself, but then also there's like that degree of like, are you really who you think you are, right? So you have to go prove it every day.
Yeah.
And having to, accomplish whatever it is that you're going after in order to like validate maybe.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna cut that part, but that was just for y'all too. But in all seriousness, I think just that same duty of people who like believe in you or like decide to place whatever faith in you and say like, you know what, I'll endorse him, I'll back him. So you obviously don't want to let those people down. Your family, my name, all those things like mean something to me, and not wanting to be that person that like people like had a bunch of potential but it didn't work out. Like you don't ever want to be that guy. So it's a combination of everything.
Steven, what do you think gets you out of bed in the morning?
Cup of coffee.
Heck yeah.
Like quite literally, sometimes I'm like, man, that coffee's gonna be pretty good here in a few minutes. Man, that's an interesting question. Does that question, whenever y'all hear that question, do y'all interpret it as like, are y'all thinking about like you're in bed, you're slouched, and you're like, how am I gonna get out of bed right now? Or do you like take a big picture, like what motivates you in life?
I just think failing. Like for me personally, it's just like the big picture of like life not turning out how dope I thought it really
Okay, so whenever somebody asks you,
I think
like,
both
when
of
do you
us
get
took
out of
it
bed?
immediately, like big picture.
Like a huge picture.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Oh man,
like,
I mean, like this is gonna be
whatever.
like definitely pastor zone question, but I mean, there's a redemptive plan on earth. There's a play going on. There's a big story going on all around you, and if you don't believe that, then you're a nihilist, and you should think more. And the play's not about you at all. The play is about something bigger. We are groomsmen. trying to be happy for the groom meeting his bride all around him. The bride being the church, the groom being God. We are the groomsmen. We are celebrating that and trying to help that and try to make this the best wedding ever for everyone around us. And I love that freaking crap. And to be honest with you, I didn't really love anything else in my life until somebody really pitched it to me that way. Because, I don't know, it would be one thing if I felt like a ton of success in life. I guess that would be a different battle. But, yeah, I think that there's definitely an element of, like, there's an author at work in everyone's life. And some people don't know that, I guess. So that's definitely, like, a thing. I also just, like, I love people. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I love spending time learning about myself for sure, but also I love interacting with other people. I love laughter. I love like collaboration. I love hearing how other people are interacting with the world. I think that's probably one of the things that gets me out of bed. I like if I can actualize my existence alongside other people. That is like why we do life, in my opinion. Like it's like I'm just trying to enjoy everything. I mean, there's also just like other things. Like there's like spurry, like trendy type like motivations that I have where like I just got over this running injury and I'm like really excited to run right now. They're just like random stuff too. Like I'm like kind of to a fault a little bit of a materialist sometimes. So like getting out, like if I get a new pair of shoes, I'll be like, dude, I'm trying to, or like honestly, like super random. Like when I got my Bandit running socks, I was like, I'm trying to get like, I want to get out of, I want to do today so I can like go rep the swag. And like literally, but it's funny because literally no one noticed those socks except for me, I bet. But, or like, and you know, you get a new jacket, you want to wear it. Or, I mean, honestly, like you think about it, like right now, like I'm proud that I just got a promotion. So I want to go to work. That kind of stuff. Let's go, baby.
Come on.
Like, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm proud that, you know, like, I don't know.
Is that a new development? Is that today?
No, it happened second week of December. You know.
It's weird. It's like I saw you on Tuesday.
Sorry, I guess I just, like, should talk about myself more.
But yeah, no, I can't celebrate the win.
Like, there's just, like, that kind of stuff is, like, really cool to me. So, there's, like, definitely kind of, like, feudal stuff that will like pass that definitely helps, you know. It's like a spur, like a horse being like poked, like whatever you want to call that, like that helped me like get along the way. But I think like under it all, what truly motivates me is like Walt Whitman has a quote. It's like the powerful play goes on. Will you write your verse? Like I think about that all the time. Like it's like are you gonna, like Dad always said, there's 3 types of people in the world: people that make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that say, "Hey man, like what just happened?" And a lot of times, a lot of people are the third person, and sometimes they are the second type of person. And then every once in a while, you just so happen to get very lucky enough to meet the first type of person. So, like I remember a conversation we had last week about the private equity, or I guess that was this week. Yeah. Yeah, that was on the way to the Bama game. Like the private equity investment and how that framework drives me so much in my life that like when I hear things like that, not because of you, but just like the way that I've observed the world, when I hear about the idea of the random example that Myles gave was like instead of investing into the stock market, you can invest in like something random, like a laundromat that is guaranteed to make $200,000. My brain immediately goes to the laundromat employee where I'm like, that person has no dreams in life if some random person owns that. Because
there's no such thing as a guaranteed investment, by the way. That was not like
well, like advice. It's just like a random thing where like for me, like
so there's no lawsuits going on. It's not like a guarantee.
Like every single business should be trying to do something to help the world. And not for themselves though, but for the customer. Like they should be offering something that helps people, a service, if you will. You know, like everything is the service industry to a certain extent. Like banking serves people because it helps them with their money, it helps them keep their money safe, and it helps them their money grow.
Shameless plug.
First Bank.
We are, a community bank first.
And you can use any ATM in the world, and they will give you their ATM fees back. I learned that this week.
Wow.
Also,
We do our absolute best to do right by all of our customers.
my buddy Kellen banks with First Bank, and he didn't know that, and I told him that this week. So
shout out
Kellen.
I'm going to go see Kellen on Monday.
Oh, are you
Come
really?
on.
You
Shout
got
out
a
my
haircut with him,
I'm going to go get a haircut.
dude. He's gonna freaking love having you, man. He's so excited to meet you. He's from San Diego, so he's excited to chat with Myles about
And
that.
he's
But
a huge Alabama fan.
Is he
yeah,
really?
yeah.
I just hope he can cut.
But-
All that stuff is great. I just hope he
He can get you right.
But yeah, I can't remember. Oh yeah, but that whole idea of like, you shouldn't just like help people into a place where that's one of the weirdest, scariest parts about AI, is like people are kind of like minimizing work down to this thing that like they just want it to run itself so that you can just like enter into this space of complete autonomy. Like you can have so much power over your life, and it's like I don't think that you should have complete. I think you should have dependence on a lot of different You should
Dependency.
depend on a lot of people, and a lot of other people should depend on you, and that should be interworking. That's what an economy is, and I think that's like a beautiful thing. The fact that I, as a pastor in Birmingham, am adding to the economy, because economics isn't just money. It's like it's a lot of interrelational type stuff all around the world. So, anyways, I think that in a weird way, I kind of liked econ because of that, like because it kind of turns into philosophy and stuff.
That's why I studied it genuinely.
So, anyways, that's a kind of y'all went deep, so I went deep too.
No,
That was kind of a lot.
100% take it there.
Yeah.
This is a podcast. We're
About to
supposed
say,
to talk for forever and
Change
get
the
deep.
name to Deep Water Podcast.
Yeah.
Deep Wonder. There's probably a million podcasts named that. To this day, I still don't know of another one called Word of Mouth. But
I think the BBC has one called Word of Mouth.
The BBC has one, Myles. The British Broadcasting something.
Something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Channel.
The UK.
Yeah.
Shout out to the UK.
Shout out to
Come on
the UK. Yeah, but I think
He was
that.
gonna do accent.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Shout
y'all
out
are-
to the UK. Manchester.
like
No,
from
I,
a. I don't know. This isn't a Christian podcast, but we
You
are
can
all.
talk about
We
Jesus.
are all
No,
Christians.
cool, yeah,
So,
love Jesus.
do
over
y'all
here. Don't
think
play.
about-
love Jesus?
do y'all think about, like, how often are you thinking of a higher power throughout your days? It's okay if you don't. Too.
I think. Ooh, that's so tough. I think I do a lot, but then like I don't a lot. I think it's almost like it's not a conscious thought. It kind of just like it's in the back of your mind. Like I might be at my desk one day and just be like, "Thank you, God," like literally, or I might like just instinctively like bless my food
Yeah.
and not forgive me and not like think about the prayer that I'm saying and the connection the food has to God,
Sure.
but just like, "Thank you for this food."
Yeah.
Let me pray, amen. Keep pushing.
I think it's interesting too. Sorry, I'm gonna let you answer, Mars. That would have taken it to another subject.
I think it informs the posture by which I do hopefully everything that I do.
Yeah.
Like just the concept that eternity is ahead of me.
Do y'all think about eternity a lot?
Something I do think about a lot is like the testimonies of people that like go to heaven and come back, and they say there's colors there that don't exist here. That's something about eternity I do think about. I'm like that I feel like is probably the best description of how little we will ever be able to comprehend what eternity is. Like even a color, we don't even know
So
how to think about that.
Can you say genuinely you have encountered God?
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yes.
Okay.
To at least to every single amount of like what we refer to as dependable knowledge. Scripture is like the most dependable literature we've ever had, and Scripture would say that. So, like from a critical, like academic perspective, I would say yes, but also just from like a personal, emotional perspective, and this is just me with like faith and own personal testimony that like you can trust or not trust. Yes, I definitely think I do every single day. I mean, not every day. I mean, I think I don't know. I just feel like it's everyone like even like Joe Rogan talked about this on his podcast the other day. Like everyone will kind of like not sacrifice. Like they'll admit to the fact that like there's something going on
100%.
in the supernatural.
I feel like everyone has the same thoughts.
Yeah.
They just use different language.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people, they manifest. Some people pray. Some people meditate.
Yeah. And even prayer can mean like
100. I mean, so many
billion.
different things.
Like there was like a stat that I saw the other day that like something like 92% of people pray regularly. And the other 8% definitely are just like lying. Like they definitely do. They just don't know what it is. Like,
I mean, that's exactly. I think.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, I think a lot of people like, oh, I'm spiritual. Okay, like the whole like Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? Like all of that comes from somewhere, and it's can't be mistaken that the Bible is the oldest book ever written. So like all literature stems from that. So like
I had a Jordan Peterson said something the other day that I've been thinking about. I meant to ask you about this. He said he thinks that, or I'll butcher the way that he articulated it, but he had like a theory that thinking is the secularized way of describing prayer.
the consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that would take a second to kind of wrap my head around.
Yeah,
But
I'm
sure
still thinking through that, but he ties the conscious very closely to what I would describe as the Holy Spirit, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it would be there's like the physical and then there's the metaphysical. That would be like the philosophical differentiators of the two, where like the metaphysical is like thought, the physical is like the leaf, like, but we know how the leaf works because of the metaphysical.
Yeah.
And then also like we know how love works because of the metaphysical. We feel love and we feel hurt because of the metaphysical, but physically we feel pain or an ache or whatever you'd call it. So I could see like that, like all of that is interconnected in the metaphysical, but trying to like understand it is wildly difficult. So, which not necessarily difficult. It's easy to understand that it exists, but it's difficult to figure out exactly how to describe things.
It's hard to articulate
it's
it.
like communication is also weird too. Like like he could be saying that, but then like someone who's wildly uneducated could be like, God cares for me, and it means the same thing, but like just different level of academia can lead people to word things different ways.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Very, very interesting to me.
I think that's kind of the beauty of the gospel, is that it can be, like, I think that's part of why Jesus spoke in parables, is because stories can be easily understood by people who are not necessarily highly intelligent.
Or have an adverse,
Yeah.
process towards it.
Exactly.
Can't really deny, like,
But then if you are highly intelligent and you are highly intellectual, then you can dig really, really deep into the scripture and still find so much depth and meaning to it.
Yeah.
I like how we were talking about all this like other stuff.
Because that was a really deep dive right there, man.
No. I like how we came to like the word at some point during this. Like it makes me feel really good.
Yeah. I definitely think there's like an element of the supernatural happening all around everyone. I think everyone, like, if someone would only deny that based on like logic, they wouldn't deny that based on experience, I think. And trying to figure out what that is. I think one thing that I'm fascinated by is like why some people don't really care to figure it out. Like the amount of apathy that, and honestly, like if I'm going to make it so real, I think it's fascinating how some days I wake up and I don't care to figure it out. Like some days I'm just tired and I'm like, well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or some days I'm just like particularly sad. Or some days I'm particularly like self-conceited, which is like a weird version of like joy. And, like especially if you find it there, but then it becomes like a weird version of like despair afterwards whenever it doesn't continue on. Like, I don't know. There's just like the world is so fascinating. I also think it's interesting too how that all like all of these implications with our parents' generation, how they like aren't as they don't really care about like emotional intelligence, or at least like my parents. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like your dad's much more familiar with that sort of thing, but also your dad's a lot younger than my dad. I always forget that. So
yeah, my parents are probably 10 years younger than yours.
How old is your dad, Myles?
56.
Oh yeah, so he's like around my dad's age. Would you say your dad cares about like emotional intelligence and like psychology and stuff like that?
Would you have this kind of conversation that we're having with your dad?
About like religion and all that.
Just like about, I mean, I guess, yeah, but like philosophy and like,
Yeah, I think my family as a whole, not just him, but like my whole family, I think we talk about a wide range of topics. I think there's no subject that is off limits at the table. I mean,
There's an amount of like
obviously, certain stuff you just don't talk about, like, but for
like
the
how
most
long was
part,
your dad in Europe playing basketball?
13 years.
I mean, like, you lived in Europe for 13 years.
Yeah.
Europe is just like, you can't really avoid, like, aristocratic thinking whenever you're in Europe. I feel like it's just everywhere. Aristocratic, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like your dad spent 13 years in Greece. Like he had to be like the arts are just so much more prevalent there than they are here.
Yeah. I think one of the things I took from him that is directly correlated with his time over there would be just how he interacts with everybody. He tells a story of being with his team president and like a bunch of business owners in Athens at the time. And he tells a story. He uses an accent when he tells a story. But just long story short, the president of his team told him, don't be like most Americans. He's like, what do you mean by that? He's like, don't judge a man or woman, but don't judge a man by like his title. He was like the finest man at this table could be a janitor. What I mean? Like terms of just ethics, morality, like whatever it is that, he might be the most outstanding person. So I think that's like one of the, philosophically speaking, like one of the things that I really took from him was like the person sitting at the front of the office building you're walking into, treat her the same way you would as when you go up the elevator and talk to the CEO. Nobody's like a different playing field. Yeah, that's probably why I speak to everybody everywhere I go, just because you never know literally who you're talking to.
Yeah,
that's super true. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna offer earlier. How like whenever I was gonna interrupt you earlier, Myers, like this whole idea of the majesty in every single person, like in the Christian tradition, we would believe that every single person is made in the image of God, or we have what is referred to as the imago Dei in theology world, which just means imago is image, Dei is Dios, or like God. We're made in the image of God, so we like have a little God, or we are all like little gods. That's the wrong way of putting it, but yeah. Anyways, so we have infinite value because of our Creator, not because of us. That's how we would define like this worth of everyone that your dad's talking about. How the finest man here, which like still, I love like the idea of that. But anyways, like I think that idea is like so beautiful. And as I have spent more time diving into the ambient music world, that idea continues to pop up as like when you take time to practice. I know mindfulness is like a weird yoga word, but like when you consider the world around you, you immediately, like especially if you're observing other people, it's very human of us, or not human, it's very like natural of us to begin considering the fact that no one else is considering, or begin considering the fact that everyone else is having a life, a day, just like you are.
That is the craziest thing ever. And like that took, I think I don't know how old when I had that realization of like, you really can't take a lot of stuff personal.
Yeah.
Meaning like, if someone does something to you or cuts you off in traffic or,
whatever,
it's just rude. They might in their own bubble of their day just be having like something that they're going through and it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like if someone, treats you bad or whatever, like.
Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting. There's like a level of like.
But no one thinks about that. Everyone thinks like me.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I remember being at the first time I ever interacted with this idea. Like I remember this like made me cry watching it. I went to a career fair in high school, and I went to the Chick-fil-A room because there was this guy named Mike Holmes that owned 2 Chick-fil-A's in my hometown, and he was like super rich. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go be Mike Holmes when I grow up. So anyways, I go to it's like junior year of high school. I go to the breakout room for Chick-fil-A, or like franchise ownership or something, like was the title of it. And he plays this like Chick-fil-A corporate video. There's people walking to Chick-fil-A, and above them there's like these titles that are like floating, and it's like, wife died from cancer 2 years ago. Just got abused the night before. Like it was like above like another person's head. And then another one was like, just got laid off from his job 2 weeks ago. Like these people like walk into Chick-fil-A, and their heart behind like why they as like employees treat them well has nothing to do with the amount of money they would give them. It's everything to do with like, you have absolutely no idea what these people are going through. Whether it's something beautiful and happy, like they just got engaged and they're about to marry the man of their dreams, or they just lost a spouse, like everything in between. Like every single person has a life that they're experiencing, and you have a chance to be like, you know, a good impression or a bad impression on them. You can offer a good experience to them or a bad experience to them. And I remember being like, whoa, like the world like opened up to me in a new way in junior year whenever I thought about that. So I think it's super interesting how, like, obviously ambient music is completely tied to mindfulness or consideration or whatever word you want to call it. But this whole idea of like, if you like looked around at the world, like if you began to consider like someone else's life, you just like, for some weird reason, all you want to do, or at least for me and other people I've talked to about this, like all you want to do is make their day better, because you just like begin to think about like how bad their day could be going. You know, I think that's like a beautiful thing. It's also a really cool part that I do enjoy about, like, say whatever you want about, like, obviously, bless your heart, like Southern hospitality is super fake and like traditional sometimes.
Like a bad thing when someone says
but,
bless your heart, they're really like talking trash.
Yeah, no, that a lot of people do get frustrated with Southern hospitality because it's like fake or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, at least people are trying, you know, like even if it is fake, at least it's considerate or something like that, to be like, hey, how you doing, man? Like, instead of just like literally nothing. I don't know. But that
sometimes
also,
you have to like, yeah, I got frustrated by it when I was a kid, but sometimes your attitude follows your actions.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to force yourself to put on a smile and be nice because you want to be that way, even though you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there is like definitely a connection between, like, you can kind of lead yourself in that.
Or, I mean, on both you guys' points, you guys ever been somewhere and just ask them like, oh, how's your day going? Like a server somewhere or something. And you're like, oh my gosh, like no one's asked me that all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're just like no one asked you how you're doing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've probably interacted with 24 people and
like,
none of them.
No one asked like, how's your day going? Like, you know, just like little stuff like that is like really puts it in perspective.
It's also like really fascinating too. That's like one of the reasons that I'm off social media, is because I think that social media just inherently distracts you all the time from these opportunities, like these divine opportunities, if you will. And like, you think about every single time that you stop at a red light, you're like, you pull out your phone. So your automatic inclination, like every time you have a second, or you go to the grocery store. Not only are you trying to find like the shortest grocery line, but even if you do find a line at the grocery store, you're immediately just like, smartphone, let's go on. Instead of being like, I don't know, like I'm not like a talker, like I'm not like having a full convo, but I'm a big fan of like, whenever I'm in an elevator and there's like an elderly person there that hasn't been trained by the smartphone to just like suck at being a human, they always like will make some like completely empty, unnecessary, funny comment. And I've grown to like this fascination, this admiration with like old guys and old women's ability to make like really quick, punchy jokes in like unfortunate scenarios. And they make me laugh like really hard. But I also think that like when you're in that like awkward line of like, you know, you're looking at people's food that they're buying. Like, I don't know, just I think that is awesome.
I love turning around and making some kind of joke to the person behind me at the grocery store.
When you're in line, just being like,
that.
I don't know, they got like 13 banana things. Like, you got some monkeys at home? Freaking stupid stuff. I don't know.
I think that one of the last times I did
This
this,
entire podcast was a huge build up to that
joke.
punchline.
There was a dude buying like 15 pounds of meat or something, and I turned around and said, like, big barbecue this weekend or something, and then found out his son is a barbecue chef has a barbecue restaurant and was literally buying meat so his son could like smoke it for the family.
That's really cool, honestly. You know, I learned the other day you can buy beef brisket at Costco.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that you could do that.
I need a smoker, honestly.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
I want a smoker as well.
So bad.
Maybe that's what I do. I just got paid
that takes
for
time to like learn.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I did
like,
try to do it with it. I tried to do it on a Traeger like a while ago with my buddy John, and we did like if Terry Black's is a 10, we were sitting around a 6.
No, not a chance. First time?
No, well, it wasn't his first time. It was my
yeah,
first time.
Yeah, I got you.
Also, Terry Black's is just crazy, dude.
Special stuff. I will
For the listeners, what is Terry Black's?
Oh man, I got this.
You got it.
Barbecue, Texas style smoked barbecue.
Austin,
On the
Texas.
piss.
I've never been, but I know.
There's one the original one's in Austin. They also went in Dallas, and they also have one in some other random city. I can't remember where.
Somewhere in Texas.
But there's also there's also Black's Barbecue now, and there's also like a Terry's. There's like, no, sorry, Terry Black is the name of that owner, and then there's like another barbecue that's like something else, Black's Barbecue. Yeah. But apparently there's all this drama. Like we learned about whenever we were there from the guy sitting beside us. Yep. Which is another thing. It's like we chat, like that's super common in Austin. It's super weird. Absolutely. Like people will just like chat. Yeah. Like not become best friends, but just like.
Yeah, I mean, like something I think a lot of people don't realize is like if you go to Austin, been to Austin, I think Texas as a whole, because everyone talks about Southern hospitality, and I think Texas hospitality is like it's a step above.
It's pretty elite. I'm not
really
gonna lie.
A step above. Yeah.
Really?
I think Texas is like.
I've never really met a stranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
You're not like best friends, but like
the people there are like
can talk, and it's not gonna be weird that we're having a conversation randomly in public.
You know, it's strange. Like Austin's obviously beautiful. Dallas is not beautiful, but the people in Dallas make it a cool. Like I don't know how to explain that, but I liked Dallas because of how kind everyone was, and like people were just like above average interesting and above average cool, especially in comparison to.
Cool, but don't do that. Don't whatever you're about to say. Don't say Austin.
No, it's in comparison to Birmingham.
Oh yeah.
Austin's. Well, I mean, obviously, this is so freaking polarizing. I'm about to freaking side with, whatever. But I think Austin's insanely cooler than Dallas, simply because my in-laws live there, and then secondly, it's just naturally. I mean, Austin is one of the prettiest cities I've ever. It feels like California, but it's not California. And everywhere in California that is beautiful, humanity is kind of made horrible, but yeah.
I think like instinctively humans just aren't like, even though our charge is to like take care of the world, I don't think people do the best job of that. But I think Dallas is like, you're saying Dallas is really cool, but it's a major city.
Yeah, it is.
You have your like tier 1 super big cities, but like Dallas is very much so like in that second.
Yeah, it's the most moved to city in America by college graduates.
Yeah,
like
it's like
it has the most jobs available, I think, in the country right now. Besides, like obviously behind New York, but yeah, like it's pretty nuts. Like for the longest time, I was like reading this article and like before 2020. It was like the typical cities that we all like. I feel like we knew whenever we were growing up. It was like Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago. Like I feel like Chicago was like so cool for a little bit there.
It's been rated like Chicago. Before I moved to Birmingham, Chicago was one of the cities that I was like, I could see myself being in.
Yeah, I mean Chicago is probably freaking sick, but since COVID, Dallas, Phoenix, Denver. Like I feel like there's like been a shift in like I don't think like cool cities really exist anymore, because I think everybody kind of understands that every person that's like young that moves to cities. Maybe this was the case back in the day, but I feel like back in the day like trendy cities existed, and now every single city has like its trendy corner, its like family corner and whatever.
A lot of people go places from, let's say, smaller towns, Birmingham or Raleigh, for instance. Like someone from there went to Miami or went to Los Angeles or New York, and then lived there, did that experience, and then took that with them.
Yeah.
To wherever it is, and then they try to implement their little piece of
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
the tricky thing about that is you do change the fabric.
Yeah.
Like what made that city so unique. So like we were talking the other day about like ACL and South by Southwest and how like Austin still is to a degree, but it used to really be like the live music capital of the world. Like anywhere you went on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, you could sit down and watch live music being performed. And it's not like a, odd thing. Whereas now, because it's so transient from people from New York, California, not that that's a bad thing, but they obviously have their own set of ideals and things that they expect and want in a city or a space that they occupy. And so they do imprint a little bit onto what is, what used to be.
I remember whenever I lived in Raleigh, there was like, it's also one of the most moved to cities in the country right now.
Shout out Charlotte.
And Charlotte is also super popular.
I love Charlotte.
But a bunch of people from New York specifically moved to North Carolina. And I remember seeing like political signs that were like, if you move here with us, vote like us too, or something like that.
I've seen that.
It was like like you can't just like, that's obviously political, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like you change, you can't just like bring New York to Raleigh. Like that doesn't work. Like you can't, like I remember talking to New Yorkers whenever I lived in Raleigh, because I worked at a coffee shop, and they would like oftentimes complain. And I was like, you do realize that like your culture that you miss is what made you hate New York.
Yes.
And then the culture here that you hate, that you're hating on, is what makes North Carolina aspirable. Like it's like, it was just so interesting how they're like, oh, I'll never go back there. Have you been to New York lately? It's freaking terrible. But oh my gosh, people here are like they drive so slow, and everybody has a car. It's so annoying. And I'm like, I don't think you can't you can't. Yeah, it's always just like, it was always like a lose-lose.
That's the thing I think a lot of people aren't good at when they go places. It's like
assimilating to it.
Yeah, like just like be where your feet are. Like wherever you're at has something nice about it. Something.
Yeah.
Whatever your interest is. Like you like records.
Yeah.
If you move somewhere else and you just didn't know a soul there, like you could go to a record shop.
Yeah.
First of all, you're in your element of things that you like.
Yeah.
And you're going to bump into someone there that you just hit it off with.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just don't understand why people don't, like, they always try to manipulate a situation to something that they want it to be instead of just, like, let it be what it is. Like, just let it rock.
Join in the party.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. That is kind of interesting how interests are the same everywhere. Me and Myers always have a joke that's like, yeah, like, we could move to, like, Denver. And whenever we live in Denver, we would, like, wake up on a Saturday, go on a run, play pickleball, and probably go have a cup of coffee. Then go home and like hang out with our wives. Or we could move to Los Angeles and we could wake up on a Saturday, go and run, go play pickleball, go grab a coffee, and then go hang out with our wives. It's like everyone is doing the same thing everywhere. It's all the same.
Just
like
takes an hour and a half in Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles, you'd be like, you'd have to freaking TikTok everything in order to make rent. But here it's
and
like
pay
45%
of your income in taxes.
That is insane.
and not own an electric vehicle, or else you'll get shot.
Sheesh.
I love California though. I will say the city, like besides like the government and stuff,
I would move
California
to like
is
Encinitas.
freaking beautiful. Did you ever go there?
Where?
In Encinitas?
Of course, yeah.
That place seems beautiful.
It's dope.
That and there's another city over there, like Oceanside. Is that what it's
Oside, yeah.
called? Yeah, that's like apparently.
The
Me and Gracie
best-
have talked about
You been to Point Loma?
doing a.
Best
Is that near
street
Point Loma?
tacos.
No. I'm just asking, have you been to Point Loma?
Shut up.
Best street tacos I've ever had in my entire life, and probably ever will have, were in Oceanside.
He's never had street tacos in Texas.
Gotcha. No, we don't do street tacos like that. It's different. It's different. You might as well go to Taco More Loco.
Shut the heck up, bro. This man is so dumb.
I'm just saying, bro.
Dude,
like,
I think
first of all,
that- okay.
Tex-Mex is a superior dining experience.
Do you
Any
think
other
that the
Mexican
place we went to at Advanced Auto Parts the other day, or Taco More Loco, is better?
Advanced Auto Parts?
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, no.
He thinks Taco More Loco is terrible. Taco More Loco is a taco place in
I have
right
like
like literally
half a
20
menu.
feet away from us right now.
What
Let's
did
go
you
there for
get?
dinner. Let's go there for dinner after this,
I don't want
and
to.
you have to get the burrito
I
tacos.
don't want to.
Okay.
Like, no.
I'm not going to respect your opinion until you try the burrito tacos because they're amazing.
Okay. You know what?
I heard there's a place on
Salute.
Green Springs that
Salute.
only does
Downtown.
burrito
Salute.
tacos.
Shout out, salute.
Speaking of, are
downtown
we going to
Birmingham.
my parents' house to
Yeah.
eat dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You know, come playing cards and eating pizza at my mom and dad's house. You're not doing anything tonight.
Come on.
I'm trying to
You
destroy
see
you
how
in
like
some
someone
hand,
asks
foot,
you a
mouth.
question, huh?
Hand, foot, mouth is our new favorite card game.
Is
Is it similar to the
Hand,
Monopoly
foot.
situation we played?
Hand, foot, mouth.
hand foot? It's no. It's like what is it like?
What did I say? Rummy Cube? Wasn't that what you said?
It's
it was
kind of like rummy.
not Rummy Cube.
It's kind of like rummy. Have you ever played that?
It's getting to the
card
point
game.
in the podcast where we should probably just chat about this after we finish. So,
Yeah, we should.
wait, let me play some outro music real quick. Hey, Myles, this was actually so fun having you on. Guys, we could have talked to Myles for like a billion more hours
Do y'all
about a
think
billion
I'm
more
gonna get invited
things.
back? Is that a thing? Do y'all ever
You
have
are
people
very
back?
welcome to come back.
Do y'all have?
We've kind of developed, and we want to
Oh,
continue to develop a
he should try to
cast.
kick us out.
So part of our vision for this is always having new interviews and bringing new people on,
Of course.
but having like a consistent cast
Yeah.
who comes back. And so we've had Cole Edens. Have you met him before?
No.
Okay, he's been on probably like 6 times. He helped me last week when Steven was gone. We've had Sam Edens on a bunch of times. Jacob McClendon, he's been on
Yeah.
10 times, probably, maybe
I think
more.
I was actually when Cole.
Yeah, Cole.
He's from Dallas.
No, he's from here.
Who did the Christmas episode where y'all?
That was Luke.
I was there with.
He's been on 2 or 3 times.
I
so
played
you
the
were-
episode.
Yeah, you are very
Legend.
welcome to come back. In fact, if you know any cool people that you think we should interview, we would love for you to bring them, and then we can do a 4-man episode.
So we gotta have your dad on one day. That'd be legendary.
Yeah.
Cue the outro.
Wow. He doesn't want to have his dad on, guys.
No, I mean you can talk to him. He's a busy guy.
He
though.
doesn't do interviews.
Busy guy. He doesn't. He's not
Yeah.
a big camera guy.
All right. Hey, well, Miles, this has been
Cheers.
my absolute treat. This has been an absolute peach of a time.
Honestly, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
Honored. Is this y'all's first episode? I told people I was y'all's first episode of 2025. So,
Second.
Technically second. Sorry.
wow. That's
Sorry.
embarrassing.
I mean, this is your first episode of
Yeah, no,
2025.
I just thought I was special. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know what I was thinking.
You are special.
I just thought I was somebody,
You are.
And you find out
You have infinite value and worth.
that's what I'm saying. You're just another cog in the machine. And it's fine.
Pretty awesome machine, though.
Hey, next time you
that.
come on, we'll talk about banking.
Absolutely. Can't wait. We're gonna talk about
Yeah, I'm
all things.
gonna accidentally have the flu that morning.
Maybe me and Myers will have like a little finance episode. Like
Yeah.
I still have to
so-
talk to you about my epic banking idea whenever we eat lunch at Bottega next week.
Okay. Can't wait.
Guys, I've really been into dub techno lately. This is
Is this Fisher?
you wish, man.
Is this
They went
Krungbin?
to-
Is this Krungbin?
Thanks,
Krung band? Krung
This
band?
this
Krung-
Krungabane?
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We love you guys so much.
Miles.
I appreciate it, y'all.
I don't remember what that is.
The volume's all the way down. Oh, he took his headphones off. He won't be able to hear it. This is the secret segment.
Secret segment. We're gonna talk about only things. So
He missed the music. He didn't hear the music because he was
genuinely, that was like such a miss right there. That was a huge old whiff. I couldn't remember how this worked.
We do a secret segment.
We have to wait till the
Right-
very end.
right at
After
the
we
end.
say bye, you have to wait till now to hear what we're talking
And we
about.
played really loud dubstep music that you missed.
Yeah.
Secret segment. We're going to talk about 2 things. One, we're going to talk about a secret. Second, we're going to give homework. Tell us a secret. Do you have any secrets?
Oh, I don't know. I'm an open book.
All right. I got a secret then.
Oh, I have a
Oh,
secret.
go ahead.
I have a secret. We have 2 cats.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You bought a second cat?
I got another cat
When did you get another cat?
last Wednesday.
Why?
Fun fact: I don't like cats at all.
Same.
Because it's fun.
Like, get a dog.
There's a
No
lot of
shade.
fun things. Why that fun
Yeah,
thing?
no shade. Get a dog.
Why not?
Whose idea was it? Was it yours or was it Claire's?
50-50.
Yeah, it's quick.
Who brought it up first?
Claire.
Okay, 100% Claire.
Yeah.
That seems like a Claire
I Went to Elmore County Humane Society on my way
Elmore
back
County.
from Prattville after going to visit a church for work.
Okay. Pratt.
And I picked up a cat,
Heck yeah.
and I surprised Claire with it when
What's
I
the
got
name
home.
of the cat?
Is it a kitten?
It's a kitten. It's an orange boy. His name is Billy.
All right, well, that's a secret. I'm not going to make any comments about this.
I believe it be as well.
What's the other one? Starts with a pepper, or what's here?
Pickle.
Pickle. Pickle and Billy.
You said you had something important to tell us.
No, I just have homework for everybody.
What is it? How are we
And
gonna do
that is-
homework and I'm not? Anyway, go ahead.
That is, hey guys, we got a lot of new 2025 jazz coming up. We got a lot of fun episodes. We're planning a little event coming up in the springtime where we'll have a little cafe pop up, word of mouth cafe pop up. So tell your friends about word of mouth. Tell your friends with your mouth using words about word of mouth. There's your homework. Thanks so much for listening today, guys. Live from the new studio. This is your friends.
Bye.
So is this the official